Hello, my darlings. Hello, hello, hello. Oh, I might have been a bit loud, that one. I don't know. Am I too loud? Am I too quiet? Let me know in the chit chats. Big up, everyone. Big up to all that have arrived already and those who are to arrive later. Hello, my darlings. Hello, hello, hello. Here we are again. I'm doing another show 2 days, 2 days apart, or at least a day apart. Damn, what's going on? What's happened to me? Did I get the bug? I wanted to actually go to the corner badly today, but unfortunately, other commitments um, took precedence, shall we say. Other commitments took precedence, so I could not get to the park. Although I did follow it closely as much as I could with the busker. Thank goodness for Busker in the park, who diligently covered most of today's activities, which we shall go over and review a little bit. Just giving it a little bit of time for others to arrive. Maybe I don't know. I'm gonna actually, yeah, I gotta remember. I should put this StreamYard link in the chat. Let's start with that. Let's put the StreamYard link here and see what we get. Let's pin this bad boy to the top. Pin message. All right. Okay. So, hello, Victoria. Yes, Victoria. I've replied to your message with my email. And so, if you wish to contact me, you can contact me that way. And also, what do you call it? If damn it, what the hell's going on here? Yeah, so you can contact me via why my email. And I'll be honest, I'm not in direct contact with Hatun all the time, so if I get a message over to her, then I shall, if you need me to get a message over. Big up to Top Buzz, Victoria, of course, Mark Coyle, Rich LK, John Smith, and everyone else. Just typing email. Okay, no problem. You do what you do, girl. In the meanwhile, I am gonna try and run a show over here. So what are we doing? What are we doing, kids? We are. This is the difference between. This is why I'm. I want to run OBS. I should run OBS StreamYards rather than OBS Stream. Is it OBS Stream? Shoot, I forgot the other name. OBS Streamlabs versus OBS project, because OBS Streamlabs seems to do better with different windows, especially StreamYard windows. I don't know, I should probably use Google Hangouts, but I'm using at the moment I'm using StreamYard because my setup is all set up for StreamYard. I have to possibly set up a Hangout sort of scenario where the Hangout sort of looks good in there. I've seen Real has been doing some interesting maneuverings on his, but anyway, less of that boring crap. Yeah, so what are we doing today? I'm just gonna cover initially the Hatun sort of little excitement, shall we say, at the park, which isn't strictly Hatun's thing. It's just that they came obviously to disrupt the Christians, these Muslims, I guess you want to say. But yeah, they were a bit idiotic in their way and in what they did. Let me see. Automatically adjust. Let me see. Is there was a noise that it would make? Guessing. Must authenticate. Play sound. Okay, there you go. There is a thing. So hopefully it'll warn me that a person is in his chat. Yeah, just guys, I'll try and keep an eye on the chat. Just let me know in the chat. Tag my name if you want to jump on, so that at least I know you're in the back chat waiting, because I may not be able to see it. This setup that I'm running on this other computer is not, shall we say, as efficient as the other setup that I have on the other computer. So we're just gonna have to deal with it as it is. So, yeah, there's there's a very confusing thing. Actually, let me see if I can actually show you two things. Number one, I want to show you something. I want to show you guys a particular image, which I rock quite often on Velivisions. Now you see this image. This is the image which a lot of people have actually pointed out. Oh, this is very nice, very, very, interesting, very, it's quite eye-striking. It is known as the Shiro Khorshid of the Iranian Shah's flag. Now, during the Shah's time, this was the symbol on the Iranian flag. Let me see if I can switch over to another image of the Iranian flag. There we go. Let's see. Maybe I can show you guys something. There you go. You see, as you can see, there's multiple different versions of this. Many of them are used all over the place, as you can see. This was the original Iranian flag's symbol before it changed to the Islamic Republic of Iran, which I believe this is it. You see this lion? It's the face of the lion, but the Islamic Republic is which actually looks very Sikh-like. Let me see if there's a. I mean, this is the one that I've seen because I put it in. Let me just. Let me take out the. Let me take out the lion, and then you'll see the current flag. Now, this is the current flag, the Iranian flag as it stands right now. And the previous one was the old Shah flag, the Iranian Shah, as they call it. And this is this is another version of it, but usually it's depicted like this, with the lion in the back, or the sun coming from, rising from behind the lion, type of thing. Various different versions of a similar thing. But anyway, that is known as the Shiro Khorshid. Now, why am I telling you about this? Why am I giving you so much of a long-winded lecture about this particular symbol? Because you guys know that I use this symbol myself in my as my little logo, as avatar when I go on to different panels. If you follow me on Velivisions and other panels, you most likely have seen this. The reason I'm talking about this so much is because of what I'm about to show you today, and the people who arrived at the park today. It was very suspicious, let's put it this way, because this symbol that I show you with the StreamYard symbol, this Shiro Khorshid, is used nowadays mostly as a symbol of those who resist or who are against the Iranian regime, the Mullah Islamic regime of Iran. That's what most Iranians use, that flag, and this symbol here. They use this to show that they're against the Iranian regime and the Islamist regime of Iran, and the Islamic theocracy. And really, to some extent, you could even say they are resistant to Islam itself. A lot of these Iranians who use this flag and use this symbol are kind of anti-Iranian regime, anti-Islamic theocracy, and a little bit anti-Islam. Quite often you find that they're atheists or non-believers. Certainly they're not fans of Islam. So I put all of this, I lay all this foundation because I want you guys to remember all this when I get to the point that I want to show you in this situation. Now, this is when, in the park, when these somewhat suspicious individuals with masks show up, which a lot of people, a lot of the Christians, a lot of Hatoun's friends are worried, because obviously these are masked people who potentially could attack Hatoun. I don't think they would, obviously, with the kind of police presence that's available now, and of course the fact that a lot of people are surrounding Hatoun, but obviously they gave that kind of a very aggressive impression. So let's watch this bit.
The editing.
You can see that they've all arrived.
Keeping everything alive.
Now it's clever to note that they've started with the Palestinian flags, Now, a lot of people, the reason I think this is an interesting tactic is that they use the flags as a shield for criticism, because nowadays it is incredibly sensitive if you criticize Palestinians and the Palestinian cause, especially in the Muslim. It's almost like a carte blank check of enacting violence upon those who are going to resist or going to take Israel's side. We know that a lot of Jews and a lot of anti-Semitic attacks have risen because of the Palestinian-Israeli situation recently. Anti-Semitic attacks went up tenfold. Literally, people like Mohammed Hijab were saying, that, or at least people in their group were saying that Jewish blood is halal and shit like that. So there's a lot of anti-Semitic and anti-Israeli rhetoric banded around the Palestinian support groups, and so them coming with Palestinian flags and this sort of pro-Palestinian thing, it's almost like if you disagree with us about the pro-Palestinian position, then you're kind of leaving yourself open to being attacked. I mean, we know that a Muslim, a scholar Muslim, Abu Layth, was attacked at his house because he showed a sort of not 100% support for the Palestinian cause. Like he showed some kind of nuanced opinion, or he demonstrated some kind of nuanced opinion about that. They literally went to his house and broke down his front door and broke his windows with bricks. I mean, that's the level of violence and that's the level of visceral sort of venom that this generates, or that can come. So I think they use this in order to not, because Hatun may be fair game because of the Quran, the holy Quran that she shows, but other people may not do that. So they can't really attack them physically by, saying, oh, you're desecrating the Quran. But what they can do is, if they go against the Palestinian cause, that could be another trigger point for them to physically assault some of these people. I think that was the thing. They wanted to put this divide between the Zionists, or the supporters of Israel, and the Palestinians. So this was already contentious, and they were already setting the groundwork, if you like, for a very confrontational engagement. I think there was a lot of things playing, a lot of layers at play here.
Especially
now, if you notice, they came and they didn't know Hatun. They didn't know where Hatun was, so they went straight to that guy on the ladder, the Christian that was preaching on the ladder. That Christian on the ladder was practically on his own, but they came over and they went straight to him. Look.
Sorry, did I say that out loud?
That Christian guy on the ladder, he's over there. There's an Israeli flag over here, and there's a few people. There's Uncle Usman, the green jacket, but there isn't really much going on. I mean, it's a pretty lame and mediocre sort of event over there. And that guy's on that ladder. Maybe they went over. Actually, maybe they went over because of the Israeli flag. I'm not sure.
Can you subscribe?
They come into the park, waving those flags, and they go straight over to the Christian, and of course the Israeli flag. I think it's the Israeli flag.
Especially
Asif is in the middle there. Actually, it's more around Asif than it is around the guy, the black guy on the ladder. Even though the guy on the ladder is the one who's got the Israeli flag. If you notice, though, it's the black guy with the blue cap who's got the Israeli flag, but they're actually surrounding Asif. Naturally, it would be, everybody's going to look at this and go, yep, there's Muslims for you. I'll be honest, this is why I'm pointing out the Shahanshah flag, because everybody would like to think these are idiot Muslims. And to be honest with you, I wouldn't even think twice about calling them idiot Muslims, because most of the time it is an idiot Muslim who behaves like this. but I don't, this whole thing about ops, I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist, but there are some actions of these people that really suspicious, really weird, because they're incoherent, they're incongruent. They don't match up. There are certain behavioral things that don't seem to at least add up, at least for me. They're acting like idiots. They're all being aggressive. Guy looks like okay. Remember this guy's face. Remember this guy's face here. I don't know. Can anyone see my? Ah, shit. No one can see the actual arrow. Basically, this dude with the white top, with the white sort of checkered top hat. And checkered. It's like a Palestinian checkered sort of shawl or whatever. This guy with the silver mask. There you go. Silver mask on this left-hand side of the screen. That mask is significant. Now I'll tell you in a minute. Get out of it now! Get Now here, they're waving these Palestinian flags in front of the people's faces. Now watch the guy with the silver mask, and then let me explain to you what I mean. Okay. Look at the guy with the silver mask. Someone takes a flag out of his bag and gives it to him. There you go. The guy took out the flag, and he's handing over the flag to him. Now he's waving the flag. This flag that he's waving is the Iranian flag. But the interesting thing is that this is the flag of the Shir-o Khorshid. This is the Shah of Iran's flag. This is the pre-Islamic Iran's flag. Not right now, not the Islamic Republic of Iran. Islamic Republic of Iran's flag is this. Hold on. Oh shit. Hold on. Let me show you. This is the Islamic Republic of Iran's flag. Okay? Watch the flag that he's waving.
We haven't known. In the wind. And in the wind says, we haven't known defender of Nazis and a supporter of Nazis. And come here and has defended a rapist. Go online.
And there's the guy with the Israeli flag, but they never went near him. They never actually went near the guy with the Israeli flag, which is...
Google it, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, now you see the guy with the silver mask. Now, I don't know, for those of you who know what that silver mask represents, you may or may not know it. Oh, hold on, there's a whole bunch of people chatting. I'm sorry, guys, I'm not keeping up with the chats here, and also I'm not really keeping up with anyone coming in. No one's coming into the thing. Okay. Now, this silver mask, do you guys know where this silver mask is from? I bet you don't. I don't know. Has anyone been... Oh! Yes, we do have some astute individuals here. The mask of the 300. Yes, this is the immortals. It is the immortal Persians of the 300. So, again, this individual is incredibly complicated. The Persian immortals were Persians. They had nothing to do with Islam. They're not supporters of Islam in any way. Hell, the kings of Persia fought against Abu Bakr and all the rest. So these are not Omar bin Khattab, sorry, not Abu Bakr, Omar bin Khattab. The letters, I've got the Yazgard III's letter. So why is this man wearing a Persian mask and has the Iranian Shah pre-Islamic flag. Now that flag is actually tied to his back now, and I'm going to try and capture this if I can. There, you see the lion? You see the same lion as this. This is it. This is the symbol that's on this guy's back. Why has he got Iranian Shah's flag with the Persian sort of the Immortals mask, and yet he's waving a Palestinian flag and screaming Allahu Akbar? There's a lot of incongruity here. There's things that just don't seem to add up. It's weirdly unsettling that this guy's got all this. It's like mismatched shit. I don't know what the hell's going on. 300 were the Spartans who fought the Persians. Yeah, exactly. So yeah, there's a lot of mixed up shit with this guy. This guy doesn't have his like Islamic symbolism correct. His Islamic symbolism is all over the fucking place, because that is that lion is the Iranian pre-Islamic Iran lion. He's wearing the 300 Immortals mask, which is Persian. None of these are Islamic. What the hell is going on? I don't know. But these were the if you like, oh, there's Pavlov as well. He's there. Shit, I should have gone today. I really regret not going today. I should have gone. So yeah. So that was my weird sort of analysis of today's commotion, if you will. There was a lot of hoopla, and these guys were shouting and screaming and rowdy and up and down. But there you go. And I think Busker kind of follows them. There's this guy with the thing. I think Busker gets a bit bored here, so he kind of goes and follows those guys to see what they're up to. There they are. This is just weird. Oh, he touches Asif. He does a little tap on Asif's face. The thing is, they're very, very antagonistic, obviously, and they've dressed up for it. But it just seems weird that he's got the immortal mask and the Iranian flag like that. I just don't get it. What that's all about. What that is all about. I mean, his skin tone, I don't know whether I would say it's Persian. He could be. He could be more Indian. He seems more Indian or Pakistani. So I don't know what's going on. I honestly don't know what's going on. But anyway, yeah, this was the most exciting portion of Speaker's Corner today, really, to be honest with you. This is the only thing that happened that was of significance today. And that's all I have to say about that. That's all I got to say about that. Other than that, I am open to discussion, kids. Oh, fuck me. A fucking moth has crawled into this fucking place. Why are you here, moth? Why the fuck are you here, moth? Because I'm not here for you, moth. You're not welcome. And I'm afraid I'm going to have to end your life now, moth. You will die by my hands before the night is out. Okay. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I don't really, the rest is just Busker doing his thing. Oh, by the way, guys, if anyone who hasn't already subscribed to Busker, I think I'm preaching to the choir here, but yeah, please go and subscribe to Busker in the Park. Awesome. Look at this. Look at this. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, and that's, by the way, that's a black anonymous mask, actually. Ironically, that's a black version of the anonymous mask, I believe. Look at this. Look at that. That is the Iranian Shah's flag. What the hell is this demented idiot doing with this flag? He's going to get a lot of shit from his fucking fellow Muslims once he realizes what that fucking flag is. Because his fellow Muslims are gonna just tear him a new one. If he doesn't know what he's doing, but I think he knows what he's doing. I'll be very surprised if he doesn't know what he's doing. Why would he have gone and bought this flag? and then come to the park and scream Allahu Akbar. That just doesn't seem. Guy Fawkes wasn't black. Yeah, but I mean it's just the black.
What are you afraid? What are you afraid of?
Sorry, it's the guy. It's meant to be Guy Fawkes, but it's the from the film V for Vendetta, and I guess it's.
Why are you afraid? Take it off. Take it off.
Like he's waving that flag very proudly. That flag was technically the secular dictator of Iran, the Shah's flag. Why are you so proud of that flag?
Iran. Why are you afraid? Why are you afraid?
Yeah, he's saying he's from Iran, but that Iran isn't the Iran that you. This is not the Iran you're looking for. What the fuck is this?
Why the fear? What are you afraid of me?
Please share this out, everyone.
You can see. This is a. Oh. Stick, of course, but yeah, that is the Guy Fawkes. That's the black and gold Guy Fawkes mask, clearly.
Ladies and gentlemen, isn't it strange?
Now, this is my conspiracy theories that are coming up. If you wanted to make Muslims look bad, this is how you would do it. Sakyam. Yoshi Bear. Sakya mama. Ene blood. Ene blood. But yeah, I mean, yeah, he got the flag from an old Iranian. Yeah, but the thing is, this is the thing, NPC. He may have actually got this flag around the Iranian embassy, because there's a lot of Iranians who take that flag and they've been sticking it around the Iranian embassy. It's kind of like a FU and a middle finger to the Iranian embassy and the Iranian Islamic regime when you have this flag stuck around there. So it could be that these cheap idiots went there and took one of these flags thinking, well, it's the Iranian flag, right? And they're parading around on it because it's just the Iranian flag, but they don't realize which era of Iran this belongs to. So really, this guy with that flag is effectively giving a middle finger to the current Iranian regime, if that's what he wants to do. Which, again, it doesn't add up with the whole Islam great, Allahu Akbar, we're gonna bun the kafir sort of rhetoric. I don't understand. I just don't. Rodney K, dude, the link is it's pinned to the top. The StreamYard link is pinned to the top of the chats. So by all means, feel free to go and stick it on there. Wait a minute. Oh shit, I didn't. Wait, what's? Oh fuck me! It's Late Night Chill with BanksyStyle. Well, I suppose it's just called Late Night Chill with BanksyStyle. That's fair enough. I can't really do much about that, but let me see if I can actually update my title with the. Okay. Late Night Chill number 2. Let's see if we can update the. Well, we've updated the title. Maybe we should call it Sunday Chill. Let me call it Sunday Chill. Since Veli doesn't work on a Sunday, that part-time bitch. He doesn't work on a Sunday, so the rest of us have to carry the bag here. So yeah, guys, the link is in the link is in the chat. It's pinned at the top. Any of you guys want to jump on and have a chin wag, feel free to do so. Rodney, I don't know. You were the one complaining about me not doing enough live streams, so here we are. We're doing.
You're a soldier of Palestine. You're a soldier of Palestine. Where the word?
I don't think he's a Muslim. He's a white nationalist guy. He wears costumes. Friends of Ralph. Maybe. I swear, though, I personally thought this was very, very dodgy and fishy. Now, the thing is, though, his skin tone is very, very, brown. So he comes across as extremely, sort of, what's it called? He comes across as very much a someone who could pass for Pakistani. But the whole getup is very incongruent. There's something fishy about these guys, I tell you. There's something fishy. What do you mean maybe later? I don't have later, dude. I'm kicking this shit out by like 10:30, 11 o'clock tops. I don't have all fucking night, Rodney. There is no maybe later. You either get on now or I'll be fucking off. There's maybe later. Like I'm going to sit here all fucking night for when Rodney feels like cracking one out on my fucking panel. Okay, I'm going to let this roll for a bit because I got to kill him off.
I'm an ex-British soldier. You're a soldier of Palestine. And why they got British soldiers, show the face. Where's your face? I did, coward. I'm showing my face. Look, this is my face. Show me your face. Show me your face. Show me your face. Show your face. Show your face. Show your face. Hey, coward. Don't put the device like that. Behind Aisha's leg. The devil hides the one who hides behind.
You know what's funny, yeah? You know what's funny, yeah? You lot pay. I know. What's funny, yeah? Yeah. You're paying. Shut your mouth.
Who hide in between Aisha's legs.
Oh, no. Shut up. You got no argument. Look at you, man. Look at you. I've got no time for you. Listen,
how about sensible debate and answer some questions? Yes, you can. You can't debate. Your faith doesn't stand up. That's why you get barred. Your faith doesn't stand up.
What him tell him? Palestine soldiers. You're all right. See you in Palestine. The land of Israel is all right. The land of terrorists. The land of terrorists.
Now, the funny thing is, I don't know, because when I hear these guys talk, they kind of do talk the Mandem, language. They seem to have that Mandem sort of language about them. So I don't know. I can't say 100% that I'm totally convinced that these are not actual like Mandem Muslims, but they just don't. It just doesn't add up. There's just too many things that don't add up. Oh, we got ourselves a bite. Hello, Mr. Lister. Is that you, Lister, mate?
Is that you? Is that you, Banksy?
That is me. You can't tell?
No, I came on just to make sure.
Just to make sure it's me.
I think I can confirm it's you.
Yeah, I can confirm it's me, and you can confirm it's me. So what's up, Lister? Lister, dude, I wanted to actually talk to you, funnily enough, about your particular experience and encounters last Sunday at Speaker's Corner, and the kind of rough treatment, really, that you kind of got. And now, don't get me wrong, I'm not. You and I politically are always gonna be on the opposite sides, or certainly at odds. But when I talk about Muslims and their behavior and their sort of very handsy kind of behavior towards people they don't like, hitting Hatun. Well, I mean, let's be honest, no right-winger has tried to stab you yet, Lister, but it's been some pretty rough.
Well, hold on. Before we talk about like who's responsible for Hatun, like we don't know yet. And the first guy, the evidence is, in my eyes, that for a start, it's inconclusive, and two, he admits he's a Christian under police watch. So to suggest that these people attacking Hatun are Muslim when When she's aligning herself with Tommy Robinson, who's just been ordered by the courts to pay £600,000 for lying and making up evidence. Like there's no evidence to suggest that either of these people are Muslim. And to be honest, the way that her cut has almost practically disappeared by now and turned into a bruise.
I'm sorry,
it doesn't even look like she's been stabbed at all.
Did you see the force in which that guy literally threw the knife, as in his fist and his hand? He just sort of threw everything into it towards her face. Do you honestly think that guy was some kind of this whole thing was a setup? Is that what you were suggesting?
Do you know about perspective and filming, Banksy? Like the way that those so what I think is there's two shots of there's two angles of what happened there. One of them was probably not supposed to exist, and the other one is set up in such a way where you can't tell how far away he is from her, so you can't tell how close his hand or the knife is to her face.
Which one isn't supposed to exist? The one from Soko Films or the one from I think it's called Unite Upon Hack? Those are the two footage that I know of.
The Unite Upon Hack. So I like. Here's the thing. I don't know what happened. All I can do is give an alternative scenario that is just as plausible as a Muslim did it. Like no one can disprove what I'm saying as an alternative scenario.
Okay, let's hear your alternative, because I like to. I mean, fair is fair. Let's see the alternative first. Let's hear that.
The first time this happened, 3 months before it happened, Hatun met up with Tommy Robinson, and they foreshadow her being attacked by saying things like, "Oh, what will it take for everyone to rise up? It'll just need to take something to happen," and kind of foreshadowing some sort of.
So this was before Hatun got slapped in the face. Is that the one you're saying?
Yeah, this is like 3 months
that
before.
Before that, Hatun had received an Osman warning already. You know that,
according to who?
To the police.
Is that what the police have told you?
No, that's what the police told Hatun.
Have the police told you that, or have the police allegedly told Hatun that, who's forwarded it on to everyone else?
But you do realize that people attacked Hatun's place of residence, right? They threw stones.
According to Hatun, yeah.
Well, according to the reports, I mean, I'm sorry, I haven't actually gone and actually looked at the police reports, but the police she'd already had to move from her place of residence because.
According to Hatun. I'm also having to move from my residence, so this is all kind of like.
So if we actually no, not just according to Hatun, according to PC Barnes, who
according
also
to PC
confirmed that Hatun had received an Osman warning.
Oh, did he?
Yes.
And
ask Atheist Steve. He also confirmed.
No. But is that according to Atheist Steve's? And what he said about Barnes, or is that what Steve Barnes has said to you?
Because I was there, I was at the park when Steve Barnes was watching out. This was literally the week after, and Steve Barnes, I'm sure he actually even mentioned it on one of my videos as I was recording, because I was live streaming. Okay. I've got to go through it, but
so you're telling me that
hearsay from Hatun. This is the
so you're telling me that
official position that Hatun received an Osman warning.
So
are you not convinced of that?
So potentially, she might have had an Osman warning, but that is separate from two people attacking her on camera in the park. Like, I don't understand why people would do it on camera for a start if they're going to attack her. It's like, why do it on camera? This just doesn't make any sense.
No, hold on. Let me track back a little bit. She received the Osman warning before the Tommy Robinson guys, before she spoke to Tommy Robinson in regards to potentially her being attacked, and she had people attack her house, and that is why she had to move, because the police told her that she will potentially, it's not just her being attacked, is that they might petrol bomb, because she shared her house with other people.
Do you realize what lengths these people will go to fool everybody?
Well,
Like Tommy Robinson is having to pay £600,000 for lying, providing false evidence in court.
Okay, but I mean, to think that Hatoun's stabbing is going to raise money for Tommy Robinson is
No, I've never said that.
unbelievable.
I never said
So
that.
what's the
I never
connection?
said that,
How is it that?
Banksy.
How is
No,
it that
Banksy,
Tommy?
I never
But
said
how would
that.
Tommy Robinson benefit from Hatoun's stabbing?
So why is it that now that Tommy Robinson is fucking scraping the barrel of a fan base, that all his flying monkeys are now surrounding Hatoun?
Wait. Sorry.
You tell me what the
Hatoun-
benefit of all his flying
Hatoun got
monkeys
attacked
surrounding
with a
Hatoun
knife.
are.
But what I'm saying is, okay, let me try to lay this out. Number one, the thing that you said about Hatoun and Tommy Robinson foreshadowing this was because Hatoun had already been receiving Osman. She'd already received an Osman warning. She already had people attack her house where she lived, and she had to move because she was endangering the people that she was living with. Number two, hold on. Let me just finish these. So these things, these foreshadowings, were not really foreshadowings out of nothing. These events had occurred, and when after a series of events happen, then someone says, you know, this next thing might also happen. That's not really foreshadowing. That's just logical conclusions. That's
Dude, Tommy Robinson has had loads of Osman warnings. He is nothing's ever happened to him.
Yeah, because
like it would be so easy to put a fake, a threat against Tommy Robinson's life by one of his
times. Tommy Robinson's been attacked. He was attacked at a McDonald's.
Have you seen how many times now I've been threatened at Speaker's Corner, and no one's talking about the far right?
I agree with you.
Presence. That it's always this Muslim thuggery, but really, I can't go to Speaker's Corner now because every time I go, I get threatened, and if I go, it's going to escalate to a point where either I'm going to retaliate and get into trouble, or someone else is going to hurt me and they're going to get into trouble, and I'm either going to get hurt.
And
so
Lisa, that is exactly what I wanted to talk to you about your treatment last week, which, if you know, the way I could see it from my position, and I'm sure others would, was extremely hypocritical from a group of people who want to protect Hatoun and Hatoun's freedom of speech, and yet they manhandled you the way they do. And the way they treated you the way they did, they hounded you, almost trying to hound you out of the park. So to me, that is just as deplorable as the way the Muslims behave towards Hatoun. I have no problem admitting this.
But it's because I'm the only one calling out or saying the things that can't be said. Because as soon as I say them, it's like, let's look at the comments. Oh, I'm losing my mind and all this kind of paranoid schizophrenia. It's like, no, I've tested the amount of people following me, and it's undeniable. I don't have to prove it to any of you people, but I know it's happening, and because I know it's happening, I can defend myself against it. So,
yeah, I mean, let me just introduce MC. I just want to make sure it's MC. MC, big up. How's it going, mate?
Big up, everyone. By the way, Crash.
It's good to hear you, my friend. It's been a long time. Okay.
It was.
It has been.
Lister probably knows me. Lister probably knows me from
I think
other places.
You guys have spoken a few times, but anyway, don't worry. Let me finish with Lister, and let's just get his perspective.
Okay.
But Lister, I genuinely was upset, or genuinely was like, I thought this was so hypocritical, the way they were treating you and the way, people manhandle you. The people have attacked you multiple times, and we never, there's never a thing about, oh, look at all these right-wingers, all anti-free speech. They want to censor people. There's never a row or an upset sort of, dialogue about the fact that Lister is effectively being treated the way Muslims treat Hatoun. And you are. I mean, don't get me wrong. You kind of go into the lion's den and you shit stir. I mean, you walked.
No, I do not shit stir.
Dude,
I never throw insults.
You walked up to Paul Golding and called him a cunt.
Okay, that's That's an exception.
So no, I'm just
That
saying
is literally one exception.
I know, but what I'm saying is, yes, you are brave enough to step right into the lion's den and call them a cunt in their face, which is fine. I still think that is still, you don't deserve an ass kicking for that, but if you get a little bit rough housing because of that, I'd say fair enough. But
No. But like, that is the only occasion when I've done that. When I go to protests, I don't retaliate with insults. Like, I take everything on the chin and I just stand there and take it and try and talk to people on a level, and especially those people who are interested in talking to me on a level. I did not want to get accosted by those people. I didn't want to speak to those people, especially Gavin. All he has to say to me is, get out the park, get out the park, get out the park. All I'd ever do is try and be nice and smile and be polite to him back, but maybe a little bit cheeky. Otherwise, I'm walking away.
Gavin? Sorry.
Gavin is Gavin Malone, the guy, the large one who
grabbed you,
got the most hands-on.
Oh, the one who grabbed you, and then the police came and kind of separated you from him. The fattish bloke.
Yeah,
he's got a bit of a gut on him. I'm with you. He was there today as well. I saw it.
So the only reason that he's there every week, like the only reason I actually made that video is because later on in the footage, I hear someone talking to him saying, like one of his associates saying, "I think you should go over and apologize to Leicester." And he's like, "No, I'm not apologizing. What have I got to apologize for?" And instead, he chooses to, when he's leaving the park, I'm sat on my own on the floor against the fence, and he comes up to me, spits all over me, and walks off. So it's like, okay, I mean, what's that? Like, he was given the opportunity. He was given, even by like people who don't like me, said to him, "I think you should apologize," and he refused. So I mean, that video is only the start of what I'm gonna do.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. That is a single individual, and maybe he's a bit of a dick, which is fair enough. But generally, I mean, it wasn't just a single individual. It did seem like a much larger group that did treat you pretty badly, considering these are people who are supposed to be advocating better behavior.
The group endorsed it, and it was as I was trying to walk away because there was nothing to be said either way. It was Gavin who was the most hands-on. There was also Glenn Saffer who put his arm around me to prevent me walking away, and other people were like literally egging it on. Like, there was no one who was saying, "Hold on, this is wrong." Like, stop what you're doing. Exactly. And even the police, even when they had eyes on me and him holding me back, they didn't do anything. They were literally, it was as if they were waiting for there to be a retaliation, so then they could kick us both out.
I mean, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the police were certainly doing, but they should have certainly intervened and stopped. I mean, they did kind of intervene when you were being manhandled, when you were being pulled away, and that guy was kind of grabbing you from behind and all that. So I suppose,
yeah, eventually, when Gavin is also looking at the police when he's got his hands on, he freezes because he doesn't know. It's like, if I let go when the police are watching, it's kind of admission of guilt. But if he carries on and try and justify it, like later on, Danny Roscoe is trying to justify it by saying, "Oh, what? This is just freedom of expression." It's like, what?
It's not really freedom of expression when you're touching other people.
It's like that is just
that's
mental
literally where
illness.
freedom of expression stops, is at the other person's at the end of another person's nose. So yeah, no, I mean, I can admit this. The thing. Okay, I think we digress a bit too far. What I want to get back to is this conspiracy theory that Hatun did not. This attacker, this knife attacker on Hatun. Are you convinced that this? I mean, let me put it this way. Do you want to bet £100? I'm willing to put £100 up. £100 isn't a ridiculously large amount. We can both afford it. I will bet that the culprit that tried to stab Hatun will turn out to be a Muslim, and you bet I guess otherwise. Are you willing to take this bet? And I'm genuinely making this bet. It's not 100 quid. Isn't
Well,
some
I
ridiculously
used to
large
work for
amount of money?
bookies. I used to work
Would you
for
take this
bookies,
bet?
and we'd get people phoning up asking for like bad taste bets, and I would put this down as a bad taste bet.
Sure.
And I don't do bad taste bets.
Okay, how about a gentleman's bet? A gentleman's bet that I am betting that it's going to turn out to be a Muslim. What are the odds on that? What are you? Well, if you were
I
to
would
give
say
me
the
some
odds
odds as a
are
bookie, what would be the odds of this guy turning out to be a Muslim?
the odds are probably genuinely 50-50.
50-50. You
So
think
that would be a
it's
fair bet if we were both
Guys,
to put 100.
sorry to interfere in your negotiations about the bet, but there is one problem. What if the guy will commit apostasy just to make sure you will not win, Banksy? Right after you get me, just to make sure, just for this moment, just for this one moment.
Yeah, but no, but MC, what you got to realize is he may want to apostate as from Islam, but his name will still be something in Islamic.
Yes, I know.
His name will probably be
Abdul
Muhammad or Abu or
Abdul
Abdul
Kabum Al Stab Al Slit
Al Stabby.
Yes, yes.
So
His name will still be Muhammad Abdul Al Stabby.
Yes.
Look, one of the reasons why I think it's just all a bit of like a scam is because Hatton's got a follower who's this old blonde guy, and he's really kind of like anti-violence and anti-Muslim violence, and this like, and he's really genuine when he tries to stand up to people. But when Tommy Robinson came to the park the second time, and I was being manhandled by all his fucking female flying monkeys this time. Once I got away from them the first time and got near the Tommy Robinson huddle as it's moving through the park, this blonde guy with his mask on starts pushing me. I'm like, what the fuck are you pushing me? And he's like, yeah, I'm pushing you. And you can see that right in the intro. And that's Hatton's like one of her like biggest like followers in the park. So it's not even these thugs that are behaving like this, like Gavin. It is Hatton's closest people. So if they're this disingenuous when it comes to like dealing with me, who's a genuine pacifist, then what am I supposed to think? Like, am I supposed to just believe every word that they say, that it's a fucking attempted murder?
No,
like,
it is an attempted murder, dude. I mean, the guy,
well, if it fucking
if he
happened,
plant that knife into her face, he would have done so. He tried to stab her in other places as well, but he just was. I mean, you are saying
Banksy,
that
ask yourself honestly.
Then it's a real, genuine attempt on her life. That's not
Banksy,
how it works.
she went to the hospital, and the hospital didn't even confirm that the wounds she suffered were like from a fucking knife wound. Like, and if you look at her wound, if you look at her wound honestly, you saw the force of that guy's hand, you would realize that if there was contact between his fist or a knife in that moment, that there would be a massive scar. There wouldn't just be this cut that's gone in 2 weeks.
He hit the umbrella's stem. You can hear it.
No, he didn't.
No, he did.
I can prove that he didn't. You're gonna reference the sound that was made, but if you watch that back from the hack footage, you will hear that. Listen, you will hear that sound for a second time as he's running away, and there's no metal against metal. Like, it's the exact same sound. So even that sound could have been manufactured because it appears out of nowhere for a second time.
Dude, if you look at the close-up on the Circle Films one, the man tried his best. He put everything behind that blow. He swung, and he just happened to either hit the umbrella stem, which I think is what happened, because you know that Hatun found a piece of the knife in her clothing.
A piece of the knife in her clothing.
Tip, and I suspect it's the tip of the knife that broke off.
Yeah.
As it hit the stem of her umbrella. I suspect that's
Okay.
what it is. She said on her show that she found a piece of the knife in her clothes, in her shawl.
Do you just believe everything
No,
Hatun tells you?
dude, Hatun, you got to realize the character of an individual. Hatun is an
The character
insane
of Hatun
Christian.
is a liar.
No, why would?
Yeah, it's a toxic troll who cares more about hating on Islam than she does about promoting her own religion.
Yeah. Do you honestly think Hatun is a liar? She is an insane, fanatical Christian. She would literally see herself being, damned to hell, if she lied about the situation. She
is a liar, man.
She will go to hell if she lied about this. Okay, I've got a couple of more people coming on.
Okay, so how many people in America are these like Christian preachers that just con their congregation out of a shitload of money?
Yeah. Those guys. This is what I'm trying to tell you: is the difference between.
Why is Hatun anything different from that?
Because Hatun doesn't do this. She's not some evangelistic fucking, TV preacher asking people to send her millions of dollars. She didn't even fucking accept. She gave the money that she got the first time round for her slap to the fucking charities. She didn't want
but
any kind of. She has literally told all the people not to set up any kind of fund, GoFundMe or any kind of.
But tax purposes. She's like me, Banksy. She's in a way she's like me. She's not interested in money. But it's the attention. It's the attention that she craves. And for me, it's also the same. I don't give a shit about money, and it's the attention for me from the right people. Like, I don't want loads of fucking followers, but as long as I get the attention of the right people, then they can get the message out that I think is important, and that's her style as well. It's not. Like these behaviors aren't necessarily about money for her. It's about power.
Let me just introduce the new players on the field here. We got Afghan. Afghan, big up, Veli. Come on, Veli.
Salam alaikum, Banksy.
We got Ned, of course, and also we've got this new chap, Pedro. Who is Pedro?
Pedro. Yeah, you can call him Pedro.
¿Cómo está, señor?
I called him Pedro. What is that? How do you pronounce the fucking name?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. You can call me Pedro. Whatever.
Who are you?
Poda.
I'm a dude from Sweden. I speak Spanish also, you know.
Okay.
I was wondering this anti-fascist guy. Like, you're really surprised that Hatun has been stabbed? Like, for real?
No, I'm not.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that she would.
But you're saying that this whole thing was set up, that she faked all this shit.
No, I'm saying that there's potential for that. I don't know, is what I'm saying. But everyone who's saying that they know it was a Muslim is just blind to the other alternatives, that she faked it all.
You know, I'm actually surprised that Hatun hasn't been stabbed earlier. Like, for real. Like, if she would come here to the wrong neighborhood, she wouldn't last a day without being stabbed doing the things she does. It's like it's so incredible to think it wouldn't be a Muslim, not to.
At the end of the day, she's doing the equivalent of going up to going into some fucking pub, going up to the hardest guy in there and calling his mother a cunt until he fucking slaps them round the face.
No, the
that is the equivalent of what Hatun is doing. And it's not right for that guy to retaliate by slapping the person round the face who's calling his mum a cunt. But it's inevitable that it will happen.
These are the false equivalent.
But you don't believe it.
No, these are the false examples and false, what do you call it, sort of examples, analogies that people make. No, it is not going up to a pub and calling someone a cunt. Speaker's Corner is a designated area where you can go and say things about religion and politics that people don't like to hear.
Banksy.
It is literally
has been for over 100 years.
That's fine, Banksy, sure, but to go up to Muslims and to keep like badgering and not stop with the like.
Banksy, can I say something?
Banksy.
Lister, one minute.
There has to be a right of refusal. Like, if I don't want to listen to you at Speaker's Corner, I'm allowed to walk away, and you're not supposed to follow me.
Well,
and
no,
and
that's
Hatun
what
is
happens.
guilty of
You're
that
right.
kind
No,
of
no,
thing.
no.
That's what happened.
Exactly,
walked
listener,
away.
you're right. And if you do walk away and she keeps hounding you, you can call the police and tell her that she's harassing me. Anyone
However,
who does that
I
can
just
do
saw
that.
on video today. I just saw on video today from today at Speaker's Corner where that happened with Adnan Rashid, and he was speaking to a couple of Jews, and there was a guy from Hatun's side following these three around the park, and then he goes to the police and says, "Look, this guy won't stop harassing us." And then the police officer's like, "Well, I can't do anything. It's Speaker's Corner."
Yeah, but if
so
Hatun
that
is
apparently
acting,
that's now okay.
if Hatun is acting that way against Muslims, would it surprise you if a Muslim stabbed her? Like, how do you get to your conclusion?
You still can't stab people.
It would surprise me if a Muslim would stab her on camera, which is why
can I just ask
another
something,
reason why this is still kind of unbelievable that it's
With
definitely
his
a
face,
Muslim.
Guys,
he has his
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Afghan. Guys, give Afghan a minute. Let's see what.
Yeah. There's a quick point. The point I wanted to make is that from my knowledge, right, she's claimed asylum as a refugee in the UK, right, for the specific purpose of pissing off Muslims in a majority Muslim country, i.e. Turkey, right? So it makes no sense for me that an asylum seeker is walking around in the park specifically annoying and mocking Muslims for a reaction. The second point I wanted to make is that how is she like a Christian preacher, right? Past few days, I've been doing a lot of research. You know what I'm like, Banksy, you know, when I have an opponent. And Christianity has been ruthless towards those who blaspheme, promote homosexuality, apostate, right? So why is a Christian preacher walking around with a Charlie Hebdo cartoon mocking Jesus Christ and expecting to convert Muslims to her faith? She's a drama. What do you call it? What do you call him in these murder scenes? A crisis actor, right? So she's specifically placed there. Well, 1 minute, I'm sorry. She's specifically placed there by grown-ass men because of a small stature and easy meat target to get a reaction from Muslim men. Why aren't the men doing this? I didn't see one with a Charlie Hebdo t-shirt. Captain, what's his name? Captain Bloodfire, whatever his name. He's not got a Charlie Hebdo. Why is it one of their females walking around? I think that's very bad.
Yeah,
bad.
They're hiding behind a woman doing this, like, and cheering her on. It's like if you really felt the need to, like, this is important to do, the men would do it themselves and put themselves in danger.
Okay, guys, I'm going to drop myself off because Joseph from the Israeli Advocacy Group has joined us and I really want him on the show. So I'm going to drop myself off and let him
Let me jump off. Let me jump off. Wait. Let me jump off so you can stay on in it.
All right, okay.
Yeah, no, you stay on in it.
Okay, I'll switch.
I'll tell you what, I'll jump off if you want.
No, it's okay.
No, let me jump off.
I will go off. Too many volunteers.
You're a charity.
Fucking jump off,
man. Shut up, man. Stay there, man. Shut up, man.
Yeah, to be honest, Banksy is taking all the room, though, aren't you, Banksy?
Yeah, you go for it. Shut up.
Okay, thank you. Sorry, guys. I want Joseph in on this because I want his opinion on this as well. Sorry. Hello, Joseph. Welcome.
Aloha, can you hear me?
Shalom. Himself. Shalom.
Hello.
Salam. Everything. Yeah, Joseph. So you've been hearing. Actually, I'm actually interested in your opinion in regards to, and I believe I'll be honest. I have two other people as well in the back, which I would also like to come on. But I just want to ask you, what do you think about Lister's theory that? First of all, the knife attacker, it's a 50-50 chance that he could be Muslim or non-Muslim. If you were a betting man, would you put those odds as 50-50? And second of all, that this was some kind of setup by the Tommy Robinson group. Potentially.
Okay. Because we don't know at the end of the day what happened because the police haven't caught him, and it's just speculative. We've just got too grainy kind of footage from weird angles.
So I think he wasn't Jewish.
Yeah. Guys, please let Joseph go.
So I think there's a position that the left tends to take, which is you don't doubt the victim. And here you have a woman that there was an attempt on her life, and Lister is doing intellectual acrobatics to try and justify and defend, either justify why she was attacked or create conspiracy theories that she wasn't attacked, and do anything but look at the reality that perhaps,
I'm saying that we don't know, Joseph.
Lister, 2 minutes.
So you know, do you, Joseph?
Let him finish. You've had a break. Let him speak.
Perhaps there are extremists within the Muslim community that would be deeply offended by the fact that she drilled holes in the Quran, that she attacks Islam on a weekly basis in the park, that she attacks Islam, and that Islamic extremists exist, and they murder people around the world, and they murder people like Hatun, and you are doing everything that you can to either justify that attitude or to pretend that there is sorry, no.
I beg to differ.
You haven't gone on numerous streams, Lister, and called her a hate preacher and explained why people maybe would take offense to what she's doing.
This is like the second stream that I've been on in months. So no, I've not been in multiple streams. I would rather not talk about it. I only started talking about this because the mainstream media, especially GB News, started speculating and platforming people who are very much connected to Nazi propagandists like Subject Access, people that you want to ignore as some sort of like that I'm just some conspiracy theorist and finding things anti-Semitism where there isn't. Have you actually gone and looked into Boris Johnson's book yet, where he depicts?
And Lister, we can happily get under that. Yes, I have, and we can happily get under that. But let's just deal with Hatun.
Boris is.
I can't wait to see a report on that. I never stop mentioning it until Boris is removed from power, because that would be great. That would really put you as a non-hypocritical person in my eyes if you did that.
And we can get on to Boris Johnson, but as you said, this stream isn't about Boris Johnson. It's about Speaker's Corner, and Speaker's Corner, there was a violent attack on someone most people on this stream know, and I've been on 2 streams with you now where you've tried to either minimize it, say it didn't really happen, or justify.
I'm saying I don't know what happened. Joseph, do you know the difference between saying I don't know?
You said she was attacked by a Christian. You said that she wasn't. The hospital
so
said
did the guy?
Please just let Joseph get a sentence out. Because you just keep interrupting him. Can you let him get a sentence in?
No, but the point is,
could you let him get a sentence out? Could you please let him get a sentence
about what I'm
saying? Could you please let him get a sentence
out?
Could you please let him get a sentence out?
So Ned is really sensitive, man. I'm supposedly the one seeing things.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Joseph's not taking in the things that actually happened and saying that I'm mad because thinking he's a Christian when that's what he claimed he was. Like, come on.
No, but
now you've made your point. Can he make his point now?
Okay, yes, Joseph, please.
Okay, so listen, maybe just a quick yes/no. Do you believe there are Islamic extremists in the UK and further afield that if they saw Hatun doing the things that she does, that they would want to take her life? Do you believe those people exist?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. And so, would you accept now that she has
that was one?
You're not letting him finish, are you?
Second point, do you think that Hatun is, in far as people that publicly attack and insult Islam, do you believe she's one of the higher profile figures in the UK?
In the UK? No.
Yeah. Really?
No. Not in the UK. Speaker's Corner is such a small section that gets so little views compared to the whole of the UK that I would not say that she figures in like 99% of people. If this was a pointless question, she would probably be a pointless question of who is this and you've got to guess who she is on Pointless. That would be a pointless answer on Pointless.
Yeah, but you could say the same about Danny Tomo or any on the far
right.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, the same. Yeah.
So I'm saying, as far as people who publicly attack is in that world, there's a particular.
No, because
will you let him finish a sentence? Will you please let him just finish a point? You're getting about 4 words in, and then you're cutting him. You're cutting him.
No, but I'm answering.
You're not letting him finish a sentence.
Are you like Joseph's uncle or something?
No, I just want to try and hear what he's trying to say.
No, but do you ever defend when I'm being
It's about 5 words in.
I've learned this behavior. You know what, Ned? I've learned
all the time
now.
now.
The amount of times I've been interrupted
You're
over
talking.
the years
You're
on
doing
panels
all
like
the talking.
So if you stop speaking,
if you actually have a look, he's getting about 70% of the talking. Whenever he talks, people listen respectfully. When other people talk, he interrupts. He's doing it all the time.
Everyone, this is just ridiculous. Nobody's going to get anything in. Look, it's simple. Everybody gets 60 seconds. And we'll just rotate after 60 seconds because clearly you guys can't be patient enough to allow
I just want to make.
Still talking, still interrupting.
Joseph's trying to bait out a line of questioning.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Same with him. Because basically,
the thing is, Banksy, you got the IDF on here, right? So they're kind of silent the boy, right?
There is another explanation of what happened. There is another
look, you can't shut up.
Joseph's got a one-track mind.
I don't want to start muting people.
He doesn't want to hear the fact that someone who linked to Tommy Robinson
won't shut up.
also be a fucking liar.
I'm not going to stop talking until he stops talking.
Lister, okay, Joseph, did you ask him a question, and are you waiting for Lister to answer a question?
To be honest, it's fine. My point is basic, Lister. You do absolute mental acrobatics to try and minimize what happened, and when you, with the activism that you do, you will construct elaborate stories and elaborate explanations for why people are connected to various far-right figures. But then when you see a woman stabbed on camera, you can't even accept what's in front of your eyes. It's almost like I'm arguing with a flat earther.
When some guy tells you he's a Christian, you can't.
Banksy, he's got the mic.
No, keep going. You've got 30 seconds. You got 30 seconds, and then Lister, you'll get a full 60 seconds yourself. Go ahead. Keep going.
It's like I'm arguing. It's an argument of faith, and you can show somebody all the evidence in the world for why the Earth is a sphere, a globe. You can take them into space, and you can point and show them that the Earth is actually a globe, and they're looking straight at it. They're looking at all the evidence, and they still deny it. And that's what we have with Lister. Lister refuses to accept. For him, he saw somebody lunge at Hatun with a knife, and he has to construct a theory where actually it was Hatun's own people who did this, and that's why she was barely hurt, and the hospital said she wasn't stabbed, and XYZ things he couldn't possibly know. And it is almost a pointless argument, because if he's watching a video,
because I never said any of those things,
and he still denies it, I'm not going to convince him on a live stream.
I understand. Okay, Lister, 60 seconds, go.
At the end of the day, no one knows what happened. People who are trying to say one thing or the other don't know. All I'm doing is trying to give another alternative that possibly makes sense with the evidence that we know and that we've seen from. So you can look at Hatun's scar from today. She doesn't even have a scar. It's a bruise. 2 weeks after she was almost murdered and stabbed in the head, apparently the wound has gone. She just has a bruise. That doesn't make any sense if you've ever been cut by a knife before. It just makes no sense.
Cut by a knife?
Guys, 20 seconds. You got keep going, Lister. 20 seconds, and then
all I'm saying is, we don't know. That's why the mainstream media have largely not reported on it. The ones that have, in a speculative fashion, have platformed people who are close to known propagandists, known liars, people who are known to infiltrate various protests and vigils and accelerate them into a certain anti-lockdown mood or anti-police.
Wrap it up. Okay, thank you.
And that is the same behaviours that we're seeing now at Speaker's Corner, where videos 3 years ago used to get hundreds of thousands of views. These days, they're getting a couple of thousand.
So we all have
People like wow, and all these narcissists have basically turned it into a popularity contest, and instead of a forum where people can debate and
so
get
is there going to be a quiz about this? Because it's going on to
thank you.
Okay,
I'm sorry, Ned. Do you want? I said to Poder he can go and then you can go. So one.
Yeah,
minute.
no, go. Let
Okay,
go.
Poder, 1 minute, please go now.
Ned's only his only reason for being here is to just get in my way.
Yeah, but please listen. Listen, let it be.
I'm obviously being paid by somebody. Yeah.
Guys, Poder, it's his turn. Go ahead, Poder.
Yeah, is it okay?
Yeah, go.
Sí, señor.
Yes.
Gracias.
Lister, when I go out to my car, maybe I'm not driving my car. Maybe an alien changed my car. Maybe I got psychosis, but it's not very probable,
Maybe it drives itself.
If a person like Hatun is offending Islam, and you said it yourself, that she approaches, she provokes, it's almost her fault if something happens, you don't think it's probable that it was one Muslim, maybe an extremist? Like, why would that be so crazy? Why do you have to make up these huge stories, conspiracy stories? Like, the simple answer is almost always the right answer. When it's simple, you're like making these crazy claims. Like, why? What's your end game? Like, have you grown up around like fanatic Muslims? Or not fanatic, like regular. They wouldn't stand this shit.
Okay, Poder, thank you so much. Ned, do you want to go now?
Well, I mean, I just wanted to sort of basically, I'm not in the pay of anybody. I've not actually been here, instructed to come here by any organisation, whoever they might be. The thing is that the thing about casting doubt on.
Could I go next?
Please. I've listened quietly to you.
Keep going,
Ned. You did not listen quietly.
The thing is that you.
Go, Ned. Go.
Okay.
But he didn't listen quietly. I just want to make that point.
About the knife attack, right? You could make all kinds of doubts about it, but it seems to be he, as Joseph says, he's just doing somersaults to throw shade into this because I think he has an agenda, right? I think that he has a set agenda. Him being attacked is wrong, right? And him being attacked by Tommy Robinson supporters is wrong. But I really don't think that Tommy Robinson supporters are somehow connected to Hatun. The thing is that Hatun first started going there as part of DCCTI with an American called Dan. Yeah, and they are religious people. They don't have a political agenda. I'll shut up.
Yes.
I hear you. I agree with everything that Ned just said at the end there. I don't believe that Hatun started going to the park.
Guys, hold. This is Afghan's turn. I do apologize, Lister. Could you take notes, and then I will come back to you after that, because I got to otherwise no one will talk. Go on, Afghan.
Yeah, the point is with Joseph. I mean, Joseph comes from like a country called Israel, where it's the only country where you get a drone strike on you if you throw a stone at someone, right? But the point is with Hatun is that, have you ever like wondered why none of her male big Templar knights who hang around with her wear the same t-shirt as her, right? Why is it only her in that whole park that walks around going, "Islam is a pedophile! You got 2 Qurans!"
Okay.
With a Charlie Hebdo shirt promoting homosexuality. 1 minute, Banksy. But none of those other members do it. Why, Banksy? Why?
I can answer that, but I'll give you 20 seconds.
Thank
you
got
20 seconds, and then
it's a Christian fanatic.
Okay, guys, I'll take the 20
exactly,
seconds.
Powder. Exactly.
Okay, I'll take Afghan's last 20
Christian
seconds,
Taliban.
and I'll then go to Joseph. Simply this. Men cannot get away with the things women get away with in life. We all know this. We all know this instinctively and literally. Women can say shit that men could never say without getting a punch in the face. So we know that there's a social stigma towards hitting a woman versus hitting a man. So if a man walks around with a Charlie Hebdo, if Bob, the builder, walked around with a Charlie Hebdo t-shirt, he would have had his face caved in many more times than Hatun. We know that Hatun can get away with these that men couldn't get away with because of the social stigma.
A lot of men at the park are hiding behind a woman.
No. But what I'm saying is that we all know in society that women can say and do things that most of the time would result in an ass whooping if it was a man that did it. So there is that social difference in our society and everywhere, where if you hit a woman, every time Hatun's been hit, people are like, he hit a woman. Many men have been hit in Hyde Park, and hardly any fuss has been made. Joseph himself has been attacked. I myself have been attacked. Pavlov has been attacked. Loads of other blokes have been attacked at the park and elsewhere. Hardly any hay has ever been made out of it. It never certainly made national fucking news, but Hatun's situation
Can I say something?
Okay.
Can I say something?
30 seconds, because I've got to go to Joseph.
Yes. Lister, let's make an experiment. You put on a Charlie Hebdo t-shirt, and you make holes in the Quran, and you follow the Muslims, and go out and test the field, see if you don't get attacked.
Exactly.
Why would I want to do that?
Yeah, but what I mean is...
You have to make an experiment to see if
Why
it's
don't you do it
probable.
as an experiment?
Because
I know I will get stabbed. Yeah, I know
Nobody
it
wants
for
to
sure.
get stabbed. Okay.
That is basically like me going up to a Muslim and calling his mother a cunt. Like, why would I want to do that?
But the thing
of
is,
course, someone's going to react
Lister,
and punch him in the face.
You actually went up to Paul Golding and called him a cunt, and you got away with it.
Yeah, I did.
You didn't.
I did.
You didn't get killed.
But that was an opportunist moment.
Criticizing
And
an ideology is not
it's all right when you do it. It's okay when you do it, but when other people do it, it's wrong. It's a double standard.
I probably would have deserved it.
It's a double standard.
Yeah.
It's okay when you do it because you're doing it for good reasons.
Banksy.
But other people are doing it for bad reasons.
Yeah.
1 minute, Banksy. I want to make one example really good. Listen, 1 minute. Listen.
With the intention of winding him up.
It's a really good example.
So your reason was good.
Okay.
But their reason is bad.
Yeah,
no, because they're lying about their reasons. They're denying that they're doing it intentionally for the reaction. That specific once with Paul Golding, I did it for a reaction.
You're going off topic, man.
The thing is, you got to at least give credit is where credit is due. If you had done the same to Muslims, you probably would have got stabbed. There is a good chance you would have got stabbed for that. But anyway, Afghan, hold your thoughts.
No,
Joseph?
No, I don't think there's a good chance I would have got stabbed. There's an equal chance that the same response I would have got. The first time it happened, I would have just been moved away. But if I kept going back to Paul Golding and kept doing it over and over and over and over again, the likelihood of me being stabbed increases each time I go back. And that's the point with Hatun. I did it once because I know that it's a dangerous thing to do and stupid thing to do, and I don't go back and do it again. When I go to protests, I try and speak to people on a level, and there's much more evidence of me doing that online than there is of the Paul Golding thing. So that's the difference. You can't take one thing where I'm being honest about my behavior and use that against me.
Yeah, it's all right when you do it, but when other people do it, it's bad.
Please, Joseph,
doing it
it's bad when they do it, but it's good when you do it.
Everyone, Joseph has been very patient. Please, Joseph, you got the field.
So it's basically, I respect what Lister tries to do. Lister tries to combat extremism where he believes he sees it, and he relies on the fact that he lives in this great country, which gives him the freedom of speech to do that. So he can go up to some of the most violent people in the UK and hurl abuse at them, or he can pose a camera in their face and he can put together a long Twitter thread on why they're the greatest threat to the security of this country and the well-being of this country. And he does that week in, week out. 2 minutes, Lister, I didn't interrupt.
Lister, come on, dude.
Yeah, he's just completely straw man.
Noted, and
it's okay when he interrupts, right?
Noted, and then come back.
Okay.
But the thing is, when
So
people interrupt me,
it's okay when he
talking,
interrupts.
so just
right?
keep talking. Like Ned keeps saying.
So, Lister, it really works if we listen to each other.
Crying about it. Oh, look at him, he's interrupting me.
Lister,
Lister, please. Lister, I'm begging
that I
you.
am.
Okay, note it and then come back. Joseph, keep going.
If I am straw manning you, I apologise. But my perception of what you do is you go to, and I knew it's
You refuse to watch my videos when I even point them in your direction. So your perception.
Sorry, Joseph. Carry on.
Okay, so you rely on the ability you rely on freedom of speech for you to criticize those people that you believe are a threat to society. Hatun does the same. Now, you may draw radically different conclusions, and you may see her as a provocateur, and many on the right may see you as a provocateur. But that's beside the point. You both rely on the same thing, which is freedom of speech. And what I find really interesting is you, of all people, should be able to relate to those that are subject to violence because of the activism that they do, because you yourself are the victim of that violence. So you, of all people, should be able to relate to that. And you, of all people, should be advocating for those same freedoms, even if it is grossly offensive. And I agree, it is grossly offensive. And your analogies of going up and swearing all ring true. I agree with everything that you said. But you of all people should be able to relate to what has happened to her, and also to advocate for those same freedoms that you yourself benefit from when you're criticizing those on the right.
Yeah.
So I don't rely on free speech. A lot of the times I curb what I think is offensive to those people that I'm speaking to, because I don't want to. Excuse me. Can I speak without being?
No, you can't, because you disturb everybody.
I don't.
Can't speak. You're offending me.
I do not want to offend people when I speak to them. One occasion when it's Paul Golding, who you all. It's really weird how all these people who are supposedly not fascist defending me calling a fascist a cunt, when every other of my occasion, any other occasion, I'm there speaking to people on a genuine basis, relying on not freedom of speech, Joseph, but relying on people's humanity and people's compassion and people's respect. That's what I'm relying on. Hatun doesn't rely on any of those, and they are the characteristics that if she really was a believer in Christianity and Jesus and his example, that is the behaviors that we would see from her as well, but we do not. So it's not about free speech, Joseph. It's about de-escalation and respect and ending this gaslit nation and this conflict and this polarization of extremes on either side. I'm not far left. I don't think you're far right, Joseph. But there is this dichotomy between authority, which I think you stand in, and freedom, which I stand in. Freedom that requires that we have this mutual respect of each other, where if you're continually speaking, then the other person isn't gonna be able to get their point across.
So how is labeling people far right de-escalating?
Well, as an outsider, if I may say something, me as an observing outsider of this society, of Britain in general, I see that your attempts of de-escalation only produce escalation, actually, because the one side thinks that you are the weaklings, you are the pushovers, you are basically to be kick on, spit on, whatever. I mean, for how long you're going to be de-escalating situation? How many people have to be stabbed? How many more people? How many people have to be assaulted? How many more people have to be killed? Because frankly, I see it's getting worse and worse with every year. How many more Hatuns and
Gentlemen, sorry. Afghan asked to make a point ages ago, and he never got a chance. Please, Afghan, you get 1 minute. Go, please.
The point is, I wanted to ignore that other point. The new point I wanted to make is in response to MC ADHD dude, right? He's saying that, when will this kind of stop? Basically, Islamism, kind of political Islamism, militancy that has no borders, right? The point is it will never stop, right? Because the root cause of militant Islamism is not really much an indigenous one, right? It's more outside of the UK, and foreign policy and military interventionism has bred this menace, right? But you have to also be much smarter and much more higher IQ than just labeling things and pointing fingers. Is you need to understand that the process of grooming a vulnerable person into militant Islamism, and there's more to it, such as deprivation, economics, and racism, and fatherless kind of upbringings and such, right? So ADHD is that it'll probably never stop. That's my honest opinion, because you're looking around the world, Nigeria, Afghanistan, all these big countries, right? The militant Islamism is spreading like wildfire. And I believe deprivation and the carelessness of Western nations and governments and their support for certain Islamist groups, i.e. the Libyans and the certain Syrian militant factions, is going to cause much worse than what you've seen with Hartoon, right? Hartoon is nothing in comparison to driving a fucking dustbin truck or whatever in Paris, right? So these are small things. There's bigger issues out there, right? But yeah, we're just going off topic.
Joseph, you claim that I label more people than I ought to far right. Can you give me an example of someone who I've labeled far right who isn't, please?
So, truthfully, I wouldn't be able to, because I
so that's a claim you can't back up.
Then. No, I can.
So hear me out. Let me finish. Let me finish. What I was going to say, Lister, is people have different definitions, and your definition of far right probably differs from my definition of far right.
Probably.
And my definition of far left probably differs from your definition of far left. I would say that I think Atheist Steve is a good example of somebody I would not put on the far right. I would say he's right of centre, definitely.
Tommy Robinson, is he far right?
Yeah, I'd say Tommy Robinson's far right.
So someone who supports Tommy Robinson and like emphatically,
but that's a huge swathe of the absolutely massive portion of the country rally behind Tommy Robinson. He had
a massive proportion.
Lister, 2 minutes. Lister, you have to learn to listen. You have to learn to listen. You asked me a question.
What massive proportion?
So what I was going to say is, at the height of Tommy Robinson, before he was thrown off every social media platform, he had more followers than any mainstream politician in the UK. I think, with the exception of David Cameron.
Hold on.
How many of those came from the UK?
Neither you nor I know, because Facebook. Lister, 2 minutes. Neither you nor I. Lister, listen. You asked me a question. I'm going to answer.
You're uninformed. You're claiming that Tommy Robinson supporters are some big proportion of the population.
When someone who runs a large Facebook page,
at best he had 300,000 Facebook followers that were in the UK. No. 300,000 at most were from the UK. All the rest were from outside the UK. And it's been studied. You can look those stats up. In fact, I think I'm being generous, because I think it was actually 20% of them were from the UK. But I could be wrong. It was no more than 30%. So you've just been wildly misinformed, and you're cucking for a guy who has worked directly with Tommy Robinson. Like, he's not just a normal fan; he's someone who helps him, and he's his almost right-hand man in some ways.
Who?
He's not Tommy Robinson.
You're telling me he's not far right.
Atheist Steve is Tommy Robinson's right-hand man. Are you spoken to Atheist Steve?
Okay, so do you know that when Tommy Robinson was doing a sponsored walk, Steve was there right next to him, doing it with him.
Right-hand man.
Therefore, Gilweiser, you're right. If he stood next to him on his right, he's clearly his right-hand man.
10 years ago, Joseph. This is 10 years ago. There was hardly anyone on this sponsored walk with him. There was this very exclusive crowd there. Like, Steve isn't your normal ignorant, I just heard about Tommy Robinson's a couple of times online. He is in there, in bed with him, and he is far right. He has horrendous views on Somalia.
What views does Steve have? Not who he knows. What views does Steve have that are far right?
Okay, so there's a clip of him on my YouTube channel where he's talking about Tommy Robinson said this about what's his name? The long distance runner.
You're all missing the point.
Mo Farah, here, Tommy Robinson said about Mo Farah. Mo Farah was said about himself that he was made to feel like an alien when he came to this country, and then Tommy Robinson was like, no, the reason you were made to feel like an alien was because the people from your country, Somalia, are backwards barbarians. I asked Steve about that quote, that exact quote, and Steve defended it by not just saying that it's not racist. He doubled down on it by saying that he knows some Somali women, and they are like, I mean, I don't want to repeat it. You can go and watch the footage. So that, yes, Joseph, I would say that Steve has some incredibly far right views, especially based on his views on certain races and nationalities.
So that's why Hatun was not stabbed, because another person is racist.
No.
The conversation's moved on now, Potter. I think you should.
Yeah, but you shouldn't move on the conversation, because it's a really important point that the freedom of speech is to protect unpopular opinions that must be protected. It's not to protect mainstream opinions. You are a spoiled little brat. You don't know what dictatorship is. You don't know what censorship is really yet. You don't understand. The Hatun, she is like a canary bird. When she is attacked, it's just a matter of time before other people are attacked. She's a loony. That's why she does crazy stuff. But that doesn't mean that she has the right to be stabbed.
The principles still stand. It doesn't matter whether Hatun is a person straight out of an insane asylum or an absolute frigging genius. That's irrelevant to the principles. That's what we're defending. That's what we're looking out for. It doesn't matter. The problem is, what you don't realize, Lister, is exactly what Joseph says, is that you stand on those same principles when you walk up to Paul Golding or when you walk up to Tommy Robinson or Danny Tomo and say the things you say, because the government of this country has given you that platform.
No. I've never. I didn't insult Danny Tomo when I spoke to him. I never insulted him. I never insulted Abiy Yemeni.
And Hatun is not calling anybody's mother cunt.
Yeah, I'm talking about when you say
Hatun is criticizing ideology.
Things, or when you say things that that particular group you're approaching doesn't like.
No, but you changed offensive to unpopular now.
No. I'm trying to tell you that it doesn't matter whether it's offensive.
We're talking about offensive things, and now you've changed it to unpopular. So when I go to the right and say something unpopular, that's just the same.
Anyway,
offensive.
Someone on the right, someone on the left is saying something offensive.
Let me finish.
It's not the same,
Banksy. I'm not talking about it all being on the same equivalence of you going over to say to Paul Golding you're a cunt, or going over to Danny Tomo and saying you're a bit of a fascist and I don't like your ideas. That's not the point. The point is that there is a base bedrock of freedom of speech that has been built. That platform was set in the government of this country, has given you that. You stand on that
rely on that.
Whether you you do. You absolutely
I
do.
stand on the one that. No, Banksy, were you here when I responded to this? I stand on compassion and respect. Like freedom of speech, I will curb my own freedom of speech if I know that it's not respectful in the moment.
Oh no! If you're so really over freedom, once again,
you may want me to be, but I'm not. I'm there trying to be compassionate to the genuine people, and the figureheads. I'm trying to put my camera on them in the opposite way, where other people will generally, especially on the far right, they will pick off the weak and put their cameras on members of the public that they deem uninformed, rather than going for like the Jeremy Corbyns or the figureheads.
You think all Muslims are weak, Lister?
No. Did I say that?
Do you need?
I'm horrified.
You feel you need to defend them?
And, speaking of the government,
Lister, could you allow MC just to have a moment, because he hasn't spoken much.
Speaking of the British government, by the way, you people are aware that your government is debating on introducing a law to treat especially free journalists like foreign spies if they would embarrass the government. And I'm not joking. There are talks about it in your country.
Yeah, there are.
I mean,
something coming in. If you embarrass the government, you could actually get several years in prison.
That sounds to me like a law taken straight out of the ass of the Soviet Union. To be honest, it really sounds like that. And it is that horrifying to me.
Joseph has something he wants to say about that. What do you think, Joseph? Is that
so? It's not so much about that. I wanted to come back to Lister. Sorry, my main thing with Lister is you say that when you speak to those on the right, you speak compassionately. But if that were the case, you wouldn't attract so much opposition. Day in, day out, I work on trying to persuade people to come over to my camp, the Zionist camp. And to have those conversations, you have to engage with people in a way that they're going to relate to what you're saying. And you don't do that. You shine a spotlight on people and say, these are bad people. Okay. And you just did it with Steve, and you do it consistently with anyone who you believe partakes in wrong thing. And that's fine. That's fine. So you're entitled to do that. And I completely would defend your right to do that. But I think it is hypocritical to then deny Hatun that same right. And the major differences, which you haven't picked up on yet, Hatun is criticizing an ideology, an idea. And she's been grossly offensive in that criticism. You are going after individuals, after people. There's a huge difference there.
No,
one is
so. Can I explain what I do? I intentionally went to far right events to speak to people, and I met you there before I'd made any videos, Joseph. So I'd appeared in many, many more of their live streams than I'd made of my own before I started making my own content. And in all that footage, you will see me, like my last video, of being stood round, being encircled by a load of scary-looking dudes and being heckled from all sides while I'm trying to have a genuine conversation with someone. That is what you will see in my first year. And then it was people like Ralph and Based Welshman who called me out and talked a load of shit about me online for weeks until one of my Twitter followers from another country was like, hey, these guys are speaking about you. It seems like they're a little bit obsessed. So I'd listen in from work of like the odd time. And sometimes as soon as I listen in, my name's been mentioned. So then I start getting in, I find out about the online speakers corner kind of like live stream world, and then I'm brought into this toxic place where I'm not able to have these genuine conversations online. I am in face to face because I can ignore the bullshit, but it's very difficult to have those conversations online when you've got a load of fucking trolls just talking over you and not interested in that debate. So that is what I'm interested in. It was the fact that these people targeted me that inspired me to learn how to edit, and then not just for the protection of myself.
You're basically Antifa, Lister.
But they're abusing that. Then I decided to make videos about these people. So again, I'd like to ask you, if you think I've made a video about someone unfairly that you don't think should have been made, then please let me know which one.
And you've called me far right and a Tommy Robinson supporter.
You admitted that you support 50% of his views, and you support and you don't support 50% of his views. That
so
is
again,
what,
you're misrepresenting what I said, and this is why I can't take you.
And you're here defending people like Steve from Speaker's Corner, who is a blatant racist and Tommy Robinson supporter, and you're telling me that it's not fair to kind of say that, hey, you're at least kind of appeasing the far right by doing what you do by not calling them out.
Okay,
because that's kind of
Joseph,
what Jeremy Corbyn style.
Okay, listen.
Meeting with the far right and being all chummy with them. That's what you claim about Jeremy Corbyn, isn't it? So is it just like pure projection?
Okay, listen. You've literally had like 3 minutes, more than anyone else. Put a pin in that. We put a lot of things on the table. Let Joseph start to address them because we only got 2 minutes. Joseph, address them, and then other guys, if you guys want to come in, just give me a shout.
Perfect. So yeah, very, very briefly, anyone can go on the Israel Advocacy Movement channel. They see I've made videos criticizing Tommy Robinson and actually videos protecting his right for freedom of speech. What Lister is doing is what he typically does. He misrepresents people's views, and that's why I don't take what you say on face value, Lister, because I don't think you're sincere. So with myself, when we were speaking, Lister, learn to listen. Listen, you've got 2 years and one of these. Use them. So when I crossed paths with you at a Tommy Robinson demonstration, I was very, very clear with what I said, and I'll say it again for all the recorded, so everyone can see. There are things that Tommy Robinson did, which many people, myself included, actually support. So one of those was speaking out against the against the rape gangs in Rotherham and putting it on in the public sphere. It wasn't for the huge spotlight Tommy Robinson and his many followers put on that. It's likely the cover-up would have continued. Speaking out against extremists like Ahmed Haroun, really, really good. Then what happens is, for me, he goes too far, and he'll say things like "no more mosques." That's an outrageous statement. He'll do things like saying this entire neighborhood is enemy combatants when it's ordinary British Muslims. They're not enemy combatants. They're our neighbors. They're our friends. He'll do things like, in his past, he's called Muslim Musrats. That's, for me, is if someone were to say Jew rat or any other minority group and append the word rat to the end, that's a bridge too far for me. So, as I said, there are things that he's done which I think are actually, most decent people would oppose those that were spitting on the troops that were returning from Afghanistan. Most people would oppose those people and would stand up for organizing protests against that. Most people wouldn't support calling Muslims vermin.
The thing is, when you support these things that you rightly support, though, Joseph, like the grooming gang, what you do is endorse the line by Tommy Robinson that he's. Sorry, can I just respond to it?
You are next. I will give Lister. You will literally get 1 minute to reply, and then I have to go to Poder. I do apologize, Poder.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, when Tommy's talking about the stuff at Rotherham, like, what you're doing is undermining the people who actually did bring it to the limelight, and that's the victims themselves, and the victims alongside other people. Like Nazir Afzal, the practicing Muslim lawyer who prosecuted people of his own faith. That's something that Tommy Robinson never mentions, and it's unfair to suggest that to put all this kind of praise on Tommy Robinson for this fact, that when there's other much more genuine people deserving of that praise. And that's the point. When, like, yes, you can say that his support of this is a good thing, but the way that he's gone about it, it's definitely not been good. It's not even been wanted by the victims. When he's offered money to charities, they've turned the money down. So you're on this kind of weird kind of side of, like, supporting his bullshit about these issues without saying that you support his bullshit about these issues.
Lister, I have a question for you. Yeah, I have a question for you. Do you think, like, Nazis should be not allowed to speak their minds? Let's say Nazis.
Well, we don't have any Nazis anymore, but neo-Nazis and people who support the Nazis.
Yeah, neo-Nazis. Because the thing is... Oh, no, let him just answer. I just want to have a yes or no.
We always come back to that.
I just want a yes or no so I can keep on with my point. Lister, would you outlaw Nazis to speak out on what they believe and think if it was up to you?
Yes or no? So what I believe is in citizens' assemblies. That's all I want.
Yes or no, please.
And then I want.
If you have the power, would you outlaw?
I want everybody to ponder on these questions.
I'm not asking about everybody. I'm asking you. Would you outlaw Nazis from speaking
I don't
their
have
minds?
a strong opinion on that, because I have this conflict in my mind where I am for freedom of speech, but I also recognize that I may be in the minority, and there are people who need to be protected from some certain types of speech, like hate speech. So there's this kind of conflict in my mind of
yes
do I
or no,
act on my own beliefs in my decision and what I think, which I know for a fact would not work because everybody's not like me, or do I think about the community and what would be best for everybody, which is why I don't know what everybody else would want, which is why I think citizens' assembly would be best. Look, dude, you asked me a question. You asked me a question. It would be cool if you like listen.
Would you
I can't hear what you're
outlaw?
saying
I had 60 seconds. I wanted
so,
a yes or
I
no.
would prefer that
And you
citizens' assemblies would be set up,
yes or no.
and then the people can have their like collective choice put into action, as opposed to having it dictated to us by politicians and their puppet masters.
Would you
anyway, I gotta go
Hatun
because I don't have any interest in
against
talking to
Islam the way she does.
faults,
If it was
because I don't want to accelerate conflict. So I'm going to leave. It's been fun chatting to you. Later, guys.
Sorry, Lister, I think Based Welshman. Okay, Based. I thought you wanted to come on because of Lister, but never mind. It doesn't matter now. I don't know. I don't understand. I thought maybe did he leave because of Based, or did he? I don't
know. I certainly didn't want to disturb the conversation. I just wanted to.
I don't know whether he left because of you or because of something else. I don't. But I'm trying to rotate everyone onto the panel because I only get 6 people on the panel at any one time. It's ridiculously difficult to
but
to control
Lister was interrupting everybody.
I know,
actually, and he didn't give any clear answer.
Yes.
He's got a little bit of impulse control.
He's kind of a loony.
I mean,
He's a good lad. He's a good lad.
It would be very unleftist from him to let everybody else speak, because, as we all know, they are so humble, all of them, that they have to speak the most time and always only them. But everybody else is now, of course.
Yeah, I just want everyone to know. Everyone, if you don't know, MC is a gentleman from Poland. He's a great guy. He's a prolific memer on my Discord channel. Based Welshman, obviously Based Welshman. He's got his own channel. Great. He does great work in Dover and other places. Afghan, somewhat of a controversial figure, shall we say, on the YouTube scenes. He has said things that
neo-Islamist, right?
To say.
I'm a neo-Islamist, Joseph.
He's managed to get himself banned from channels that literally ban no one. So that's
fuck Valley, yeah. Fuck Valley.
Poder is a new chap. I don't know Poder, and of course Joseph from the Israeli Advocacy group. So I just want to give a little intro to everyone. Okay, Based, you just came on. What was it that you wanted to say? Was there something specific that you had in mind?
No, I mean, I thought he might actually hop, and if he has hopped because of me, that's just silly, because I haven't spoken to him for at least over a year now. So
I had no idea. I had no idea what kind of interactions you and Lister have had. Now, the reason I wanted to speak to Lister, and in all honesty, this was a genuine thing, I felt really bad about the way he was being manhandled a couple of Sundays ago, and that's on the same basis as I feel just as terrible as when Muslims do the same things to Hatun or other Christian speakers. So I saw it in the same light. Like, if you are a person who thinks Hatun has the right to do and say the things she has to say, then you have to, by principle, if you're a person of principle, give that same liberty and right to Lister. It's just, you can't say, oh, Hatun gets to defame the Quran and wear Charlie Hebdo outfits, but Lister can't be a lefty. I just, to me, that seems extremely hypocritical at the minimum, if not just grossly violating someone's just general basic human rights. So for me, that's the only thing I saw. I mean, it's not, me and Lister 100% disagree on many things. Sorry,
but he was defending something very undefendable, and coming up with freedom of speech is so important. Like, it's to protect not the unoffensive things. Like, you can criticize the king, the queen 100 years ago without being killed in that place, in Speaker's Corner. You are supposed to be able to challenge authority or whatever.
The problem is, right, criticizing the Queen is different when you're criticizing a particular group of people who are at war with you, right? So when you're in times of war, people are very insensitive to criticism, right? So it's a different thing. You can't.
So is that how you see it then?
Yeah, what do you mean?
We are in times of war between two ideologies. One is the neoliberal Western democracy, right, versus the more Eastern or theocratic Islamist ideology, right?
Yes.
So Joseph, you're on mute, my friend. It's like you're singing opera.
Sorry, I muted myself when this was on the B side. I could bite my tongue.
Yeah.
Anyway, I mean, can we call it what it is? I mean, can we call it what it is? This is the third jihad. Sorry to say that.
Not necessarily. MC, I can tell you that the crazy thing about this all, that there is no sincere stance on the Western side, because you only need to look at the evolution of the Libyan war and a kind of religious Islamist, the British government and the French and the Americans armed and supported. And then you look at Syria, look at the Free FSA supported by the British, all these Free Syrian Army, all these jihadis, right? And also even with people like Turkey, who is a NATO member of the West, who uses civilian airliners to transport hundreds of Syrian fanatics into Libya to fight against General Haftar. So you don't
that's
have...
exactly why freedom of freedom of
yeah.
speech is so important.
Yeah, it's important, but it's not real in the West. People are deceived when they have this kind of notion that, oh, just because you're in England or American, freedom of speech is kind of real. It's not, my friend, right? It's not.
That's why we've got to fight for it.
Today, by this date now, in the year 2021, we can all agree that the freedom of speech that we had even 10 years ago was on much higher standard, and was and we had more. We would be more allowed to say than we are today. Today, we disturb more and more and more, and it's shut down. I mean, even in the United States,
it's dangerous.
The Democrats have infected the institution there. They are like a disease. Yes, they are.
The thing is, MC, I'll be honest. I don't know if we can. I can honestly say that. I mean, I'm old enough to remember the '90s at the minimum, if not some of the '80s, and Did I ever in a million years in the '90s were capable of communicating to such a wide an audience and reach such a level of audience or the number of people than ever before in my lifetime? No, I can honestly tell you that in the '90s you had no chance of having these types of conversations with this many people.
You had a real community
for that.
You had a real community.
The internet was like a toddler in the diapers, basically, in the '90s, in the beginning of it.
But but it's not just that, not the internet. I'm talking about if you took your traditional media sources, how many of us would ever make it? Maybe Joseph. That's about the only person I can think of. But how many of us would? None of us would ever reach that many people. How many of us were going to have our own radio station, our own TV station? Those were the only real, or newspapers or magazines. Those were the general forms of widespread communication. You're not going to be able to reach this many people.
The other thing to add with freedom of speech is usually that those are advocating for freedom of speech are those that are having their speech limited at the moment. And the minute they come to power and they are in charge of who can say what, they usually put restrictions on. So whenever you look at authoritarian right-wing regimes, the first thing they do is clamp down on freedom of speech. And so it's a protest. It's a protest for not being able to say the things that you believe you should be able to say because those in power are oppressing your speech. And the minute you're in their shoes, usually you apply those same controls. And it is a culture war.
That's why everybody...
I just wanted to touch on what Afghan was saying, because I think that's really the crux of a lot of where Lister is coming from and where people like him are coming from. I think Afghan in many ways is right. There is a war that's being waged by two civilizations, and I'd say two imperial civilizations, two civilizations that take land and then send tributes back to their centers. And so when you're talking whether it was the Umayyad Caliphate or the Abbasids, they would conquer land, take taxes, colonize the people, remove the indigenous cultures, and effectively create a new culture, an Arabized culture in its place. This would take many, many years. Some were focused more on traditional colonialism. So the early Umayyad Caliphate was traditional colonialism. The Abbasids followed, they became more of a settler colonialism, where they actually replaced the culture of the people, and they allowed non-Arab Muslims to have the same rights as Arab Muslims. And that's completely comparable to the types of colonialism we've seen in the West. So you had like the British Empire, who went out and colonized land, traditional colonialism, and now you've got modern, let's say, liberalism, or I can say neoliberalism, whereas actually it's not the conquering of the land, it's the replacing of a culture, and it's the promotion of neoliberal ideas or liberal ideas. And I think that's really the clash of what we're Khatun is just in that. She's one of the actors in this huge conflict which spans continents and is far, far greater than any of us on this course. I do think Afghan's kind of right. That's really what this is about. And whether it's like David Wood on YouTube or whether it's Tony Blair in Iraq, it's all part of this much bigger.
Thing is, Joseph, you do understand what gave birth to the movement of basically Anjem Choudhury types, right? The Al-Majroons against Crusaders, whatever, right? The core birth of that movement was actually done by I think he was a Syrian guy called Omar Bakri, and another guy called Abu Hamza, who was called Captain Hook. Do you remember the old school jihadis, right? And the thing is, right, with all these counter jihadi types, they fail to understand is, right, Finsbury Park Mosque was used as a recruitment center by the MI5 and MI6 to send these very same people to fight in the former Yugoslavia for the Bosnians against the Yugoslav forces under Milosevic. So the government knew very well that this birth of kind of militant Islamism is going to be a big problem in the future, but they still allowed it to prosper.
So are you saying that this is a similar situation to Afghanistan?
Just Google it. Google it. Finsbury Park Mosque.
But are you saying that this is a similar situation where the CIA recruited people like Osama bin Laden and took him, in Afghanistan to fight against the Russians, and the British government used Finsbury Park in a similar sort of fashion in order
Osama bin Laden was not a military literate guy. They used his money and his funds and his contacts around the Middle East to fund the Arab Mujahideen, right? So in the Soviet war, you had factions, right? You had the Arab Mujahideen was totally independent, right? But from the Arab Mujahideen gave birth to Al-Qaeda, right? So when the Soviets left, it became Al-Qaeda. Osama bin Laden was nothing. The actual founder of Al-Qaeda was a guy called Abdullah Azzam, who was actually a Palestinian, if Joseph doesn't know that. And he founded it in Pakistan, but through the Pakistani intelligence, ISI. But the British, you just need to Google it. You can prove me wrong and make me look stupid. The Finsbury Park Mosque was a recruitment center for jihadis. You literally can see old videos of British Pakistanis, with their flipping southern London accents in Bosnia, talking about killing the Kafir Serbs, right?
But no, I mean, speech is so important. Because let's say it's true what you're saying, Afghan. Imagine if you weren't able to tell this to the people, if this was true, that what you're saying. That's why freedom of speech is so important.
I agree with
everybody needs to be able to speak their minds. Either it's right, wrong, idiotic, offensive. Offensive is subjective. I can take offense of anything. Understand? So you got to protect every
100%. Yeah. Look, I condemn.
No matter, even Nazis.
Yeah, even though I dislike Khatun immensely, right, and I find her vocal cords very irritating, the point is that she shouldn't have been stabbed, right? Stabbing someone is it's like the point of ignorance and weakness, right? You can just argue with her, which is much better, or just ignore her. But the point is, you can't ignore the fact that she was warned. She had that
and nobody should
warning
defend
stuff, right?
her being stabbed. Like Lister was kind of defending her being attacked.
No, you shouldn't. No one should defend.
I think this is the problem, where all these excuses and conspiracy theories are forms of defense of the stabbing. I mean, they're either trying to make out that it didn't happen, or it was self-inflicted, or that the Muslims 90% of the time you hear them. Sorry,
it wasn't a Muslim. The other one, isn't it?
Well, yeah, they either want to pretend that it wasn't a Muslim, or they want to make out that she kind of instigated, or somehow conspiracy theory set this up so that she can get, I don't know, somehow money for Tommy Robinson's case.
Nice. The state of denial
which is just unbelievable. And the other side, the Muslims themselves, constantly justify this. I mean, I heard Hamza, the ginger hamster. He was at the park a couple of weeks ago, and he said, "Well, if I go to a Hindu temple and start ripping into Hanuman and Ganesh, well, then I'd expect to, get some kind of retaliation from them." The point is, this is the thing that no one mentions. Speaker's Corner is not a mosque. Speaker's Corner is not your house. It isn't your living room. Hatun didn't come to your living room and do this. She did not go to your mosque. Unless Muslims are trying to tell me, and this is a question genuinely to all the Muslims out there at Hyde Park. Are you telling me that Hyde Park Corner, Speaker's Corner, is now an extension of a mosque? Is that what you're trying to tell me? That this is now a holy ground for Muslims that no one else can desecrate? Because if that is what you're telling me, then that's far more. This is a far bigger problem we have than anything else.
Okay.
But if Speaker's Corner is a designated area for people to have uncomfortable conversations, and it's not reserved for Muslims, it's not reserved for Hindus or any other religion or any other political ideology. So if that is the case, if this is a neutral ground, then you can't come with BS arguments of, well, if I come to your living room and call your wife a cunt, then you'll have the right to smack me in the face. This is not that place.
And uncomfortable opinions are essential for society. Those are needed. Those are so important.
This is the problem Muslims don't realize. I hear Jordan M constantly talking about, well, why do you have to insult? Freedom of speech doesn't mean that you should insult. What they don't realize, and they constantly advocate for, I don't believe in absolute freedom of speech. I think we should. Yes, Mr. Jordan M, go to China and talk to some Uyghurs, because the Chinese don't have freedom of speech. The Chinese don't have freedom of expression. See what they're doing, because these guys, they think that if we take away freedom of speech, that they're the ones who are going to be in charge, that their opinions and their ideas are the only ones that are going to be perpetuated. They don't realize that if you take away freedom of speech and some despot takes over, how about if the ruler of that country says, you can't, in order for us to stop hurting Muslim feelings, you literally can't talk about the Quran, you can't give dawah, you can't sell the Quran, you can't read the Quran, you can't talk about the Quran. I tell you what, no Muslims' feelings will ever be hurt, but you can never read your Quran either.
Banksy, that's not the issue here. This is there's no one saying, and no one's not mocked the Quran or had debates with these certain Dawa groups about inaccuracies in the Quran, whether it's the scientific claims such. She literally claimed asylum in this country because of her views because of Muslims trying to kill her or whatever, right? But she is walking up to young Muslim men who are all, you could see them and assess them, that they look aggravated, agitated and such, and start throwing a hole in the Quran in their face. No, it's like me, right? It's like me, right? Banksy.
She's not going to those Muslim people's houses. She's not going to their town or to their street. She's going to Speaker's
Banksy,
Corner.
I can respond to that very easily, right? In the eyes of the beholder, Speaker's Corner is just a park called Hyde Park, right? No one goes in there with the whole manifesto of laws and history and that. You just enter a park, right? So still, there's no kind of predictability on what will happen next based on the history of the park, right? The point is, when you are going up and antagonizing people who are high on all sorts of fucking testosterone and hatred and who hold Islamist views, and you show them the hole in the Quran and you scream and follow them and harass them, something is bound to damn happen. When the police tell you, I'll be 2 seconds. When the police tell you that you have a warning on your life, but you ignore it and you get stabbed, you didn't take the good advice. We condemn what happened to her, but no one's condemning her stupidity.
I will say this. I'm sorry.
To be honest,
It's not illegal to be stupid.
I mean, you people, all of you, are making me only convinced and making me more radical than ever to not wanting Muslim immigrants or Muslim Polish citizens ever in my country. I don't care. I want people like you in the future to justify it by any means necessary. Frankly, you know what I would like to do to such a person that is stabbing because his religious feelings were hurt, and that also goes for the Catholics. For the Catholics should get separate punishment, but for the Muslims, let them be eaten by hungry pigs, like in one of Hannibal Lecter episodes. I don't care.
You're gonna kill me.
What if I came to Warsaw right now in a communist uniform and start mocking Polish patriots on Polish March Day, right? I would probably
again, Afghan, you're making false equivalents, because nobody goes to Warsaw on Polish, Freedom Day or whatever, a celebration for the Poles, and then start calling them idiots or calling them.
Except Antifa and the people and the people from the political side. To be honest, they are doing it all the time.
I don't care about lefties at Chucks anyway. The point is, Banksy. The point is that everyone has a sensitive side to their politics, right? But when you are constantly asking and aggravating people, don't expect sympathy, right? Because something will happen. It's like you think, Banksy, you think if I walk in an SS uniform down a Jewish neighborhood in Preston and I start, it is equivalence. It's the same equivalence. If I go to If I go
Speaker's Corner and walk around in an SS uniform, Joseph may be disgusted by you, but he will not try to kill you for it.
Because
I'll just add something to. I'll add something to this, which is actually real. I'll further 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Let me just add something which is real. A real example. So I was assaulted at Speaker's Corner by an Algerian guy. He ranted for maybe 15 minutes and hurled every anti-Semitic slur you could imagine under the sun, from Holocaust denial to say Jews are behind every single ill in the world. At the end of the altercation, he went to hit me and missed and knocked my phone out of my hand and smashed my phone. He was arrested. He was picked up by the police. It went to court, and the police ruled that everything that he'd said was completely legal, because that is the court ruled, because it was freedom of speech. Speaker's Corner is somewhere where you go to exercise your speech. So if I go there knowing that I may hear some unpleasant things, well, that's on me. And so he did. He came up with every anti-Semitic trope. They found him guilty of smashing my phone, and he was ordered to pay, I think, like whatever my Galaxy S3 cost. It was a while ago, or I can't even remember which Galaxy it was. I never got the money. I think he legged it back to Algeria. But Speaker's Corner protects freedom of speech, and that includes insulting Jews and insulting the Holocaust and insulting everything else. And that's, like, I've literally been to court and been through the process of that happening.
The thing is,
that's fantastic.
I just want to also say something about my own.
Sorry, let me just get this out before I forget it. The thing is, Afghan, what you're saying essentially is that you are saying that the bully should win. This is called the bully pulpit, that you allow the bully, the one who's going to throw the fist, to win this argument that you have to shut up because the bully will punch you in the mouth, and that is the precisely why you have to stand up against this. So that Muslims, I know you're saying that there is no manifesto that a Muslim reads about the laws and the rules of Speaker's Corner before they go there, but the fact is that if people at Speaker's Corner yield to the Muslims, then the Muslims will expect this treatment everywhere, that wherever they go in this country, I'm not talking about Saudi Arabia, I'm not talking about Iran, I'm talking about in this country, if you allow them to silence you because you hurt their fifis in this country, then they will enforce that everywhere. You will allow the bully to take the upper hand. At some point, though, Afghan, you have to recognize, you have to make a decision. Do I draw this line in the sand and say, I will not allow you to bully me into silence? Or do you say, well, then they're going to punch me, they're going to stab me, so I have to shut up? That's the decision an individual has to make.
I agree with you. I agree with you, Banks. If people are like failing to understand my stance, right? You're all getting overly emotional. I'm not disagreeing, right? I'm saying that everyone has the freedom of speech, right? Especially in that park too. But have you got the guts to give your life for it? So Banksy, have you got the guts to die for Hartoon's right to mock Islam?
But that's exactly the thing. Maybe I don't, maybe other people don't, but Hattoon
exactly.
Hattoon is drawing that line in the sand, and she's
so for example, right? Banksy, when I was in Afghanistan, right, when we were fighting Al-Qaeda and that, right, the Pacific commanding officer would say to you, don't go to that place because there are potentially a lot of mines, right? You know, mines will blow your fucking legs off within seconds, right? If you stand on them, right? When you have been warned several times that look crazy, Turkish woman, you are screaming and harassing people, and it's going to take one of them to do something bad to you. Stop it. But she continues to do it. I can't support that.
Okay.
You're encouraging putting people's lives at risk over a pseudo opinion that freedom of speech is a threat because one woman got stabbed by a butter knife, right? It doesn't work. People have been mocking Islam in that park for years, but they do it in an intellectual manner, not with cartoons of a Muhammad and Jesus snogging. I mean, that's blaspheming. That is disgusting.
Yeah, that's.
No, it's not.
I think it's funny.
It is of no morals.
Offense is not given. You
okay,
take
that's fine then.
Something.
So then that person, Banksy, that person has then indirectly that person has a freedom of movement of his hand to slash your face.
No,
then,
that's the thing. They
right?
don't. That's the whole point.
Who says
your
this?
Freedom ends at when someone else's nose begins. Your freedom.
Who says this, Banksy?
Your freedom of expression. The law says this. Your freedom of expression.
Okay.
Your freedom of movement, if you will, even ends at the point of the other person's nose. You can't physically assault or accost another human being because you're offended. You just can't do that.
These are mere words, right? You have like two examples here, right? You're just saying mere words, right? You're just kind of regurgitating the government's laws and that. Then you have nature, right? So what I saw was nature taking its course. It is as humanistic as it can be. When people's emotions get hurt, their brain releases certain chemicals. So you have an aggression due to high dopamine. So that person, right, nature took its course. It was going to happen. If the police has told you, Banksy, if educated Christians have said, stop harassing people with holes in the Quran, with your irritating voice, stop this nonsense, talk more politely, have an intellectual mockery, right? Don't chase people, then you won't get attacked. This is common sense. Am I going to stand on a mine and say, why did it blow my leg off?
Again,
come on,
false equivocation and false sort of analogies. These are not the same thing. If you're saying that Muslims in this country and Islam is like being on a minefield, then maybe we should clear the minefield. Would you not agree? Then maybe we should oust Islam. Maybe we should oust
not Islam,
and get rid of the mines. I mean, wouldn't that be the safest way? If you think you're standing in a minefield, but you want to build a house on that minefield, you clear the mines, right?
The thing is, Banksy, do you have the guts to oust Islam? Do you have the guts to oust Islam?
But this is the thing. This is the conclusion.
Exactly.
This is what you'd make. No. It's not that I've got the guts. There are plenty of people in this country, and history will tell you that if a particular minority group pushes a particular nation too far, they will go nuts. They will do horrific things, and the English are not exempt from that. The British are not exempt from doing horrific things, and Europeans as a whole, we know historically they do horrific things.
Yeah, they do horrific things in Muslim countries as well. For 25 years,
no
right?
idea.
Killing civilians, bombing weddings, right? So don't like play this kind of game of kind of weighing in.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes,
Can I
senor.
ask you a question?
Comprende.
Yes.
Sí, senor.
I was wondering if you think that Muslims, they will, like, you cannot secularize them. That's what I'm hearing. I think maybe only the people that can reach them are Jesus freaks, like Hatun. Because if we are naked chimps that need to be controlled because we are chimps, maybe another religion of a crazy person is the only way to reach these silly monkeys, these naked monkeys.
The funny thing is, Potter, there are people who are making those suggestions. There are people like Ralph. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know if you know Ralph as a guy, is a right-wing type of, just a nut job, called Ralph Right Reaction. They are making these same suggestions. Is that first of all, the Muslim religion is incompatible with the society that they wish to create, and they wish to bring about a Christian theocratic authoritarian system in which you not only get rid of the Muslims and the unwanted, they have a racial aspect to it as well, where they want to get rid of the undesirable on a racial level, and they want to get rid of the undesirables in the liberal sphere. So all your freedoms of speech and movement and just generally all the freedoms you enjoy in the West, they want to eradicate all of that. They are making moves to do that, or at least they have those aspirations.
Look, Banksy, you really are. Like, look, for example, right? I fought Al Qaeda, right? And the first thing they taught us about Al Qaeda is, remember, I fought against them, Joseph. Don't report me. I didn't fight for them. Right? The one thing I learned from them, which differentiated them from Taliban, was that the Taliban's kind of hatred and lust to avenge you or kill you for harming their men ends at the border, right? This new breed of militant Islamism, which the ISIS and Al Qaeda and Al Nusra Front and all these follow, has no borders. So you've got these people in this country, right? And you see them on that attack Hatun. So I'm talking on a sense of common sense. You cannot encourage her recklessness, right? And call her a saint and a hero and tell other people to do the same, because you're ruining people's lives, Banksy and the panelists. You're getting people killed.
You know something?
Right? Unless you do it, unless you have the guts to do it, go outside and wear that Charlie Hebdo shirt in honor of Hatun. If you get killed, then I will salute you.
One second. I will make my position 100% clear to anyone who doesn't know, because I thought I already had. I disagree with Hatun's tactics, and I have personally begged her, not even discouraged her, begged her to stop this, because she knows, and you know, Afghan, I know, we all come from an Islamic majority nations. We know what this religion and the people who believe in it are capable of doing. I have begged her to stop those tactics, and not only stop it on the basis that it is life-threatening to her, but on the basis that she herself is now, with these tactics, ruining the academic critique of Islam that she's already achieved. She has done something that very few people, as far as I know, the history of Islam have done, which is to dispel the myth that there is only one Quran. And she has been very instrumental in that movement, and she should carry on that basis, on that academic criticism of Islam. And I think these tactics of Charlie Hebdo t-shirts and holes in the Quran are actually distracting from that very vital work and are now diminishing that work. So that's my stance. I don't want Hatun to keep going down this road, but as long as she is, we have to at least stand on the principle that she is legally and morally allowed to do this, and that's where I stand.
I think there's one other thing to add, which I agree with what Banksy just said, and up until the actual attack, I would also discourage. I think now there is another element that there are violent extremists who believe that they can intimidate people into speaking out against Islam. And I think that's another factor that needs to be considered now, because, and I'm not saying whether Hatun should or shouldn't say anything, but if Hatun were to be intimidated by the violent extremists, then they win. And I think that's another thing that has to be factored in. We should not be intimidated from speaking out. I like on a personal level, I'm torn between going to Speaker's Corner anymore, because it's becoming increasingly dangerous for a Zionist to go. Most times I go there, it almost ends in violence, and several times it has ended in violence. And part of me doesn't want to go because I don't want to put my own security at risk. But then part of me doesn't want to be, if I stop going, it's going to be on my terms, not because some thugs want to do harm to me. It's the same with anti-Semitism in the UK. I want to go to Israel when I want to go, not when the anti-Semites hound me out of the country. And so I think that's the other aspect that has to be considered now. The fact that Hatun was attacked for her views by people who are trying to intimidate her and intimidate others from speaking and saying things critical of Islam. If those people stop, then the extremists win.
Precisely.
This is what I was saying.
MC, go ahead, MC.
I know it is a little bit wild here, but you said, would I like if the Polish patriots, nationalists, or whoever would be insulted? They are all the time, every day, in the Western media, in the internet, wherever. Trust me, I can since I can remember, basically, since I have ever set my foot on the British soil, and when I was at Speaker's Corner back then. Muslims unprovoked told me that my country should be ripped apart like in good old days. A woman of my country should be raped, and Russia and Germany should do once again its things, because we are such losers. And when I responded that, well, at least we won wars compared to you. I cannot remember one time when Palestine won a war. One wanted to go with a knife against me, like on Hatun, just for speaking back. So when will it fucking stop? I want to know.
But MC, you got to understand, Islam is in a state of war, right?
Well, if they want war, they should get one then, frankly.
Yeah, but they are in a war.
And if they want to play by that game, then we should remove our gloves from our hands, and give them such one that they will always remember.
Yeah, but to be fair, MC, right? I know Poland a lot, Poznan, Krakow, Warsaw, right? And I know that there is a minority group of Muslims called Tatar Muslims, right, who are indigenous to your land for hundreds of years, right?
By name only compared to the ones in Britain.
But see, these are just your words, because I've seen them, I've met them, and they're very obedient Muslims. It's same with like Muslims who live in Sandak in Serbia. Serbs say the same things, that they're just Muslim by name, but I've seen them, they're obedient. This kind of, you got to understand is that Islam never brought the war here, right? The West took the war to the Muslim countries, right? The West is on Muslim soil killing Muslims, right? So these Islamists see an enemy in you. So you're going to get kind of these kind of controversial views. And I've been to the Balkans, and I've seen like Serbs and Croats talk a load of shit about Muslim Turks, right? Saying you want to rape your women, you want to kill Bosnians, right? But the problem is, MC, the difference is reality. The Bosnian Muslims in the Yugoslavia war were slaughtered to death and massacred, right? No Muslim has massacred a Polish person in the last 100 years, right?
Well, thankfully, maybe, just because maybe they're a little bit more afraid.
Joseph, you're muted.
To be honest.
Sorry.
Maybe a little bit more
can I just ask a quick question, because he keeps on saying it, so I'm just genuinely curious. Can you name a time when Islam wasn't at war?
Yeah,
but Joseph, the point is, it's very easy for a Jew to say, because your kind of religion is not of any significance globally, right? The two main ones are Christianity and Islam, and they've always been at war. I mean, Christianity, you had 2 world wars between Christian nations slaughtering.
That's my point. Yeah, that's my point, Afghan, because you're saying Islam has always been at war. Therefore, nobody can ever be critical of Islam. It doesn't make any sense. If you're saying Islam has been at war since its inception with other civilizations, be it Byzantine or whomever, if you're saying that Khatun shouldn't be saying what she's saying because Islam is at war with neoliberalism or the West or Christianity, but it's been that way since its inception. When can somebody be?
Well, I could ask you a question. I could ask you the same question. Before the Iraq War and before the Afghan or Libyan and Syrian war, how many kind of stabbings happened, or how many white van men ran over kids in Paris and London and that? Do you have a figure?
Yeah, he has a point there.
There was the Twin Tower attacks in the 90s during Clinton's administration.
In Africa, but still, but most of Al Qaeda's attacks were in Africa, weren't they? And in the Middle East.
No, by the way, Afghan, those Muslims in Poland, those Tatar Muslims know that if they're going to start things like in Britain, the amount of nationalists there, all those thugs and others, can tear them apart. And I mean, sometimes literally. I'm not threatening anybody. It's just the way it is. And frankly, maybe better because I wouldn't want to be pushed around like the British people today are in their own country. I get it.
No, the British people are not pushed around. The British people get away with damn fucking war crimes in the sense that on one side their soldiers die, come back in body part bags, killing Islamists, and then on the other side, the SAS, before the Libya war happened, due to leaked memos, right, were training the same Islamists that were fighting them in Afghanistan, in bloody Libya. So Britain is fully capable. Britain is not some weak defenseless goat that's going to slaughter. The British intelligence can stop this Islamism, but it comes for their political interests, which come first. So get this kind of naive idea out of your head that the most powerfulest intelligence agency, one of the powerfulest countries in the world, can't subdue a few Arab Islamists, right? You just stab people with butter knives.
But this is one of the problems, Afghan. This is one of the problems, is you kind of take away the agency of those people that are actually engaging in those acts by blaming everything on the CIA or on MI5 or on the Mossad. You don't
I do. You know why I do, Joseph?
Hold on.
Why I do?
Afghan, let Joseph finish and then jump in.
Okay, sorry, I thought he froze.
So, it's really that was basically my point. My point is that one of the things I encounter time and time again when arguing with leftists and when arguing with Muslims is that they will do everything to blame everyone except those that are actually carrying out the attack. So Al Qaeda, no, that's the CIA. Hamas, no, that's the Mossad. And now you're going with MI5, with the Taliban, or was it the
Joseph, I think you're really taking me wrong. I never take. You got to understand one thing, right? Like I said, right, Al Qaeda was not created by CIA, right? It was created by a Palestinian called Abdullah Azzam, right? I've never blamed intelligence agencies for creating these groups. A lot of these groups are born out of indigenous ways, right? They have grievances. You have the Muslim Brotherhood in the Middle East. You have the Bahis, their conflict between secularism and Islamism, right? But the point is that when these groups are weak, the West does support them. And the evidence is all there. And the reason why I take this shit personal is because Afghanistan was the marking point, right? You Google a man called Dr. Najibullah, right? He was the leader of Afghanistan. And if you go on YouTube, he made a speech in the 80s warning the West, right? He was the first man to oppose this Al Qaeda and all this and the Western support for these militants, and he warned. It's there on YouTube, but it's in Farsi. I think Banksy will understand it. He clearly said, if you arm these people are going to terrorize the world, and the West never listen. So I have no sympathy. This menace is a creation of both the Muslim world and the Western powers. Yeah, but so I have no sympathy. But when you go up to Khartoum,
if the Russians would win in Afghanistan, if they would win there, they would not stop, and you would have sympathy.
There we go again.
Show their Mongol tactics upon the rest
there
of
we
the
go.
Yeah, but
there we go again. This is what I'm saying. This is the problem, Banksy. Banksy, can I just quickly respond to MC? Because this is the ignorance. This is the ignorance, right? Afghans have to give their fucking lives, right? 2 million died to protect the West from communism. I mean, it's a joke. Fight the fucking Soviet Union yourself, Polish man. Fight them yourself, American. Why use the Afghans to do it? Afghanistan under communism was a prosperous nation under the help of the Soviet Union. We had hospitals. We had a high literacy rate. We had schools. And what did we get in return? A molestering, pedophile-style Mujahideen government, which was to save Whitey from the threat of the Red Army. But Afghani has to fucking die. Fight your own bloody wars, MC. Polish didn't fire one bullet against the Soviet Union, but we had to, right? That ignorance.
MC has lived under the Soviet Union. MC,
so he should have fought it.
Like how terrible it is.
Just a moment. Listen to me, Tanky. You be not distorting once again history. We have fight with them in 1920s. We have fight them in 1940s, and we oppose them as much as we can. In fact, in the 1980s, we had a threat of their military intervention if we will not stop with the solidarity movement. So don't tell me we didn't fight the Soviets.
How many lives did you lose in the 80s?
Oh, because recently there weren't very many.
10, 20. What about 2 million? 2 million.
Guys, before we get too bogged down in these different conflicts, what I'm interested in. No, look, guys. I don't want to.
MC, have you seen Real Battle?
I have. I fought.
MC, have you seen Real Battle?
I have.
No, Afghan. He told me. I want MC. Yeah, MC.
Okay, I didn't. So, what's the point?
The point is that.
No, I was just wondering. I was curious.
My argument is that the Afghan people were used as cannon fodder by these whingers who didn't have the fucking balls to fight the Soviet Union themselves. And as a result, these same Afghans get called all kinds of shitty Islamophobic slurs.
We know that
degraded.
Look, Afghan.
You should thank us, MC.
Proxy wars of America. We're talking Vietnam. We're talking.
You know what, Banksy? You know in
wars of America versus the Soviet Union.
Banksy, in Krakow, I'm going to send MC my picture holding my rifle, and I want him in Krakow to build a statue of me in honor of my people freeing him from Soviet imperialism.
But look, guys, before this thing gets too far.
But I'm muted, man. No. Sorry,
it's just I don't want to digress too far away because my problem is when it comes to Islamic issues, it always sort of goes off into a political realm of these are the reasons politically why you can't honestly tell me that it's because of the political foreign policies of America that a crazy Muslim stabbed Hatun in the face. I mean, I don't think that guy was moved that bad. It wasn't because he didn't scream, "This is for the foreign policies of Tony Blair."
No, Banksy. The point is, I don't look at things like an armchair EDL member of whatever, right? Where you just look at one incident and you make your whole assumption based on one. These things are multiple incidences and they all have the same root cause, and the root cause is from outside this country, right? So there's more to it than just Hatun being stabbed. This is an ideology that doesn't recognize borders, right? So when you are provoking those kind of people with stupid t-shirts and chasing them when you've been warned 5 times, then get yourself nearly killed, it's pretty silly seeing people kind of commemorate her bravery and her stupidity, and then encourage her to do it more. She probably will get killed, right? And what are you going to feed her family and help her with the funeral costs?
I've made my stance, I think, perfectly clear. I do not wish for her to die, and I do not wish for her to pursue a course of action which would possibly lead to that. I would rather for her to be much more academic in her criticism of Islam. I would rather for her to actually start to disassemble and disseminate the narrative of only one Quran that is a ever been, produced since the moment of Muhammad's prophethood. So I would rather for her to destroy Islam in that sense, because it is far more damaging. I saw her talk about this whole Quran thing and multiple Arabic Qurans to this guy who had never heard this in his entire. You could see in that man's eyes his entire worldview was collapsing around him. Like he literally didn't know what to do with himself, because everything he'd been taught throughout his life was destroyed through that argumentation, and that was far more effective and far more long lasting in that individual than her showing a Quran with holes drilled in it, or wearing a Charlie Hebdo cartoon T-shirt. Those things are sensationalism, but they will not impact Muslims in any way. In fact, they will. What's it called? They back them into a corner, and they become more solidified in their position than ever before, because they feel that they're being attacked. Whilst telling them and destroying them in that way by pointing out the fallacies and the lies that they've been told their whole life about the Quran and its origin and all of that is far better. So yes, I would rather Hatun to pursue that course of action and not to be sensationalist. But this is the course of action that she's embarked upon, and as long as we defend, or we stand on the principles of the freedom of speech, that we're allowed to say these things in this country at Speaker's Corner, because she has never broken the law. If she had broken the law in any way, the police would have arrested her and banned her from the park. So she is clearly within the
She was arrested though, wasn't she?
Yeah, but the thing is, they released her without any charges after holding her for 20 hours. So she has never broken the law in this country. And if we believe the laws of this country matter, then we must at least support that. I'm sorry, go ahead, anyone else?
I don't think we can stop Hatun. I don't think we can stop her, even if we tried, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the next stage probably will be like a van or something, or a school bus. But I'm only joking.
No, I mean, I don't know. I honestly, no, don't get me wrong. It's
sorry, guys.
Completely out of the sort of joke. I think someone may bring a gun at some point. I genuinely believe this. I know I'm saying this, and it might, if it ever happens, God forbid, if it ever happens, and I'm an atheist. I bet you someone like Lister will say, see, on Banksy's show, Banksy foreshadowed someone bringing a gun. But I genuinely think someone will bring a gun next time.
Banksy, I mean, Lister, that's not really Lister talking. That's his cannabinoid receptors in his brain, like bubbling, because he's a compulsive cannabis smoker, right? The point is, is that a gun, I highly doubt. Why? I'm actually amazed at the guy. I'd love to ask the guy his evasion kind of procedures, because he's not been arrested yet, has he?
Exactly.
That is pretty it's amazing.
I mean, obviously he's hiding in some basement somewhere, and he doesn't.
He's probably gone Morocco, Algeria with Joseph's friend.
I mean, I'm not sure whether he's in the country or not, but either way, he managed to bring a knife with him. What's the difference between that and a gun? I mean, he clearly had made up his mind that day.
To get hold of.
Yeah, it's harder to get a hold of, but the actual getting a hold of it and actually using it, because he knew that if he gets caught by the police, if he kills Hatun, his life is over. He was already convinced of that his life is over.
The police were maximum 5 seconds away. So the only thing I can guess, because I've seen the footage, we've all seen the footage. The only thing I can guess is that when it was like a Land Rover type vehicle, when it arm response, when that zoomed down the pathway and then got to the jihadi barriers at the entrance of Hyde Park, I presume he just went, "Oh fuck it, it's raining." Because I mean, they were 5 seconds away. Yeah. And after you've done 100 yards, you start getting a bit tired.
Maybe this is a paranoid thought, but maybe he wasn't alone. Maybe he had help.
Or maybe the police thought I couldn't give a fuck.
I imagine at that point they didn't realise she'd been stabbed, because look how long it took the police to actually get to Hatun after she'd been stabbed. There was many minutes.
Answer me this then, Joseph. Why did, after she was stabbed and it was clear she was stabbed, why did the police then evict everyone from the park instead of taking their details?
They didn't even take any witness statements. atheist
No
statements.
witness statement. Just close the fucking parcel. Explain that. Explain that.
I think it's a good, valid point. Yeah, I think that's good questions.
It's weird. It's really weird how they dealt with that. It
Basically,
took ages for an ambulance
nothing
to
happened. There was a bit disturbance. Nothing happened, and you caused this amongst yourselves, and we'll draw a line under it. That's basically what it looked like to me.
It did seem weird. It didn't look like an investigation that a murder investigation or an attempted murder investigation. I don't know. But I mean, one thing I wanted to actually touch upon, because this is another cause of conspiracy. I'd like to get everyone's opinion. Hatun fainted within like a minute after the stabbing and everything. I suspect it was shock. Once shock set in, she lost consciousness.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people are saying she faked the faint. I would imagine someone like Lister would probably say that. What is everyone's opinion on that?
I'm not medically qualified there to pass.
Yeah, the point is, she was not much blood loss anyway, right? I think shock. I mean, sets in pretty quick, right? And to be honest, what I'm shocked about is that
it wasn't a minute.
What I learned.
It was like 10, 15 minutes after, when the police, like just before the police turned up, she dropped. It wasn't like directly after.
I only saw the video.
You don't get time to think about she really died.
Yeah, I think
what dropped her.
I think she just suddenly lost. Just like the shock set in, her adrenaline dropped, and then bam, she just lost consciousness for a few minutes. I suspect that.
You go down into someone's arms if you're going to fake it, and you can sort of suss it when people do it, like celebrities and stuff. Yeah, she went down. She didn't go down on someone to catch her. She went down.
Because this is the thing. This is what people are saying. Like, oh, she faked and all that. What I know of Hatun, she hates being touched by anyone. She will not. If she was going to fake it, she would not collapse onto an arms of a man. She would do it on a woman, if anything, because she doesn't like being touched. I'm not joking. She does not like being touched. I can't. I one time accidentally forgot. I just put my hand on her shoulder as I leant forward to speak to her, and she's like, "Boundaries? Mind your boundaries." I'm like, holy shit.
That's proper like Sharia talk there, man. Yeah, you should have punished her. It's not Sharia's corner here.
No, but what I'm saying is, this is the character.
You're allowed to touch women, right?
But what I'm saying is, if you know the character of this individual, when people talk about, oh, she lied, or she set this whole thing up, if you know the character of Hatun, she believes. I mean, I may not believe in her Jesus world and her Jesus life and all that business. She believes it, though. She is one of those true believers. She is not a con artist. She absolutely believes she's going to go to the bosom of Jesus when she dies. You can
and
look
the problem is, I have with that. I have a problem.
I have met people like that before. There are people like that truly believe.
But Poda, if she truly believed in her faith, why is she blaspheming just to piss off another religion?
But that's not her religion. She can blaspheme any other religion.
No, you're not listening, Banksy. She took her jacket off. The front picture was two homosexuals kissing, right? One was a brown man, one was a white man. At the back, she said, this is a T-shirt of Jesus Christ being mocked, and I support this. Trust me, I've met really conservative Christians, and I'm not talking about Ralph, right? But in real life, they will never mock Christ, right? So she's a crisis actress. That's all I'm saying. Because she has a vendetta. She has a vendetta that she has brought over from Turkey into this gracious land, and she's stirring a war between Muslims and Christians, right?
Okay.
Simple as that.
Can I bring up?
She has the right to do that.
Yeah, can I bring up a subject about the police, Met Police? The story came out today about the Muslim female officer that was seen as the hero during the lockdown protests in September last year. Yeah, it turns out she loves a bit of shit talking online about kafirs and stuff, and she seemed to have contact with jihadi wives up in Syria. British jihadi wives. You about this story?
I think I saw that. Did you tweet that by any chance, Space? Because I think I saw that.
No, I don't think I did actually. But does anyone else know about this? She's the policewoman in the hijab that was front line for the lockdown.
I read it. The thing you posted.
I can read some of. I'll read some of her tweets for you. Kaffir lips have been all over my mug there. There is no way I'm using that thing again.
But that's freedom of speech, Priest.
Yeah, okay. You must be stupid. You must be stupid. I'm gonna do 2 minutes silence for 9/11. Israel, there is no limit, scumbags. So I can't wait till they all get punished. So it's just funny if the Daily Mail, unless we know the state of journalism in the UK at the moment is fucked. So if the Daily Mail can do a little bit of fucking research, right, and find out she loves the old Kafirs, right, and she calls Pakistanis pigs of all accounts in her tweets.
She called Pakistanis pigs.
Yeah. Then I just want to know what the Met do. You know when they investigate a murder or an attempted murder in a park, I just want to know their investigation skills, because obviously they're recruits they get coming in. If she's the right color, I mean, she was she couldn't be trans, could she? Because she was Muslim, but you know what I mean. It's the right color, the right diversity. Yeah, we'll push her straight up front line and everything. And as it turns out, they haven't done any research about her. I mean.
I don't know. I mean,
what do they do? What do they do with serious crime? What do they do with serious crimes? They look in their social media. They fucking do, don't they? It's the first thing they do. So surely you would do that for recruits.
Probably change the name.
I haven't seen the story based. How long ago did she make the tweets?
2015, I believe. If you put Daily Mail in, policewoman, Muslim policewoman, you'll get the article from the Daily Mail. I mean, it's a good story.
This is one of the things I do. I regularly highlight people that have made anti-Semitic comments in the past, and we'll share that with Corbyn, whomever, and we'll shine a spotlight on that. And one of the things that always troubles me on an individual level when I'm doing this is, what if this person has sincerely, like what we would call it in Hebrew, done teshuvah, repented, like changed their mind? So we were all talking about freedom of speech, freedom of speech, freedom of speech, and you've just brought up somebody who said something that you think is grossly offensive, and she said it 6 years ago, and I agree. And the comment she made about Israel is beyond the pale. But the reason I'm saying that is it cuts both ways. Either we're for freedom,
but then she can get a job, but she can't get a job as a policewoman. I would suggest, me. Well, I'm sure. I'm sure my social.
I mean, I think there's the differences. One's happening in the Speaker's Corner, which is a place of freedom of speech, but also this woman may have changed her mind. She may not have changed her mind. I just don't think it's as black and white as we all make out.
To be honest with you, when she's contacting jihadi brides in Syria, UK jihadi brides in Syria, I start to, a couple more questions I think should be asked. I don't know.
I'd agree with that. I think that's a fair.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I think if you are going to go in a position of judge, teachers, police officers, these are certain positions in which we allow you to have a certain level of responsibility that we don't allow, regular citizens to have. So maybe the scrutiny should be a bit deeper, but again, you're right, Joseph. If we're here to say that people are allowed to have freedom of speech and they're allowed to have, they're allowed to have effectively, they have to make mistakes in their ideology. If I were to look back at some of the things that I thought about the world when I was in my 20s, I was an idiot. I was an absolute moron. So I can't hold myself. I would have to throw my own ass into jail for the idiotic things that I thought and said online when I was young. So
trust me.
So in summary, Banksy,
most of us would be joining you in that jail. Trust me.
Exactly. Sorry.
And so Banksy, I guess in summary, you're basically saying that you support Hatoun's right to say what she says about Islam, but you wouldn't let her teach children. You wouldn't let her be.
No. I would still think that this person should, should be judged on her merits. It's just that if we're putting her in a position of a police officer, then the scrutiny would naturally be higher than if she was going to, serve me coffee at Starbucks. So on that level, I would say maybe higher scrutiny, but I don't think
she wasn't just a police officer. She was brought forward because she's a Muslim police officer that wore a hijab, and they put her in front of TSG around September time last year, and she was on every front page of the media saying she was the hero against these anti-vaxxers, far right, white supremacists. Yeah, that's how they painted it. and that's how they painted her. And as it turns out, she fucking, she is what she is. Say sympathising to brides, etc.
Look again. I think it's a very very sort of thin ice that or tightrope that we navigate when it comes to freedom of speech, and especially with this modern day of cancel culture and this and that. And Joseph is right. It cuts both ways. If you wanna be principled about it, you have to give her the benefit of the doubt that maybe she changed her mind.
If Hatoum became a policewoman, I'd have a fucking problem about it.
Well, yeah, I would have problems, but that's on a whole other
Because
level.
it's obvious she's got baggage going with her,
Yeah.
and she's got views that are like not non-political. You know what I mean? You'd have a problem about it. Like, she shouldn't be a policewoman, but she was pushed because she was the right color. She was a Muslim, so we all want diversity. Oh Christ! Yeah. You can imagine it, can't you? And I've seen the footage and I've studied the footage, and it's there for everyone to see. She's got all the other TSG around her. She's 5'3". I'm not, most riot police women are not over like 5'7". Some of them are really small. And then she's surrounded by big blokes. And the problem you got, this is 50-50 in the TSG and Met Police.
Yeah.
So you'll have two police officers with their third eye on the 5'2" colleague or the 5'5" colleague, wearing the same uniform as the males. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, gentlemen, it is an absolute pleasure. I want to wrap this up, but I would like everyone to have at least 1 minute of a final thought, if you wish. And I will start from Potter and just work that way to my right. So Potter, if you wish to have your final thought, please give me.
I just want to say thank you and good night, everybody.
All right, thank you, sir. Joseph. Since that was, are you done, Potter? Is that it?
Yeah, I'm done.
Thank you, sir. Joseph?
So also thank you for hosting me. I guess I jumped on. I want to point out the Lister. I don't see Lister as a foe of mine. I think his heart's in the right place. But I started the stream with Lister, so I'll end the stream with Lister. I would encourage you, Lister, to look in the mirror when engaging in these conversations, because the very things that you are trying to deny Hatoum, you rely on to do your activism. And so for me, it's just an appeal to Lister to stop being a hypocrite and try. And yeah, I guess that's it. Also, head over to the Israel Advocacy Movement, please. Like, subscribe, follow us on Twitter, Instagram. We could do with the follows.
Oh, you're doing fine, Joseph. Okay, go Afghan.
Yeah, I just wanted to thank the panel. Thank you. What's your name? Banksy, sorry. My mobile's broken, Banksy, so trying to WhatsApp me. My phone's broken. Yeah, man. The only thing I can say is that, look, when we try and define freedom of speech, right, don't kind of get overly emotional when you see certain reactions from certain people. Always learn to expect the expected, right? So when you know very full well that your life is in danger, then don't cry, right? I never cried. My life was in danger, right? At one point. I don't want people crying for me or fighting over me and fighting other minorities over me, right? The point is that there is a war going on in this world, right? And it's a very disgusting, dark and corrupted war, and there's no favorable sides to it, right? It's a war of proxy. That's it. So try and be smarter, guys, instead of blaming Muslims for everything and Jews and Christians and shit like that, right? Learn about politics, and you'll understand.
Thank you. And Based?
Yeah, I've just got a quick. I mean, I'll repeat everything you just said, everyone just said, but I've got a question for Joseph. Israel being the most jabbed country in the world, they're now pushing for boosters for over 60s because the Pfizer jab is about 35% effective against the Delta variant. What do you think of that, Joseph?
So I don't have many thoughts about Israel, but I'm supposed to be going there in October, and it's looking increasingly like they're not going to let me in the country. So I'm really disappointed with Israel's COVID strategy because it might not let me get in the country. So, but yeah, I don't have any comments on it.
I get what you're saying, mate. It just seems quite. I mean, if you look into it, the Delta variant doesn't seem to be very effective with the Pfizer vaccine either. And that's why they're giving boosters to over 60s. I just think it's a slippery slope every 6 months.
Politics is what I talk about. Medicine is unfortunately, I'm not qualified for. People trained for many, many years, and I'm not one of them.
Okay, guys. Before Joseph gets barred from Israel, let's move to MC. MC, final thoughts.
Well, good that is the depressing live stream about the decline of freedom of speech in UK is going to an end, frankly, because I'm sick and tired of it too. And let me tell you something. I'm not a big fan of Hatun either. I'm not also her fan. Look at my nick. There is 666, the number of the beast. You think I don't know? The danger that would happen if somebody like Hatun would be in power. People like me would probably be persecuted because I am probably wearing a fucking pentagram on my neck. So yes, I know that. But the thing is, if I want an absolute freedom of speech, I have to give this right to everybody. And yes, I hope I will become sooner or later a fanatic about it. Yes, I want to be the free speech jihadist extremist.
Great.
This is my goal.
Okay, thank you, gentlemen.
And to be Judaistic about it, also orthodox. To that.
Okay, gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure. I have to get some sleep and go to work tomorrow, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening and day tomorrow. And yeah, we'll do it again. Thank you, Joseph, for coming on. It's been awesome. Thank you. I hope you got to say some things despite of listeners' interference. But yeah, thanks, guys.
Disappointed he ran. Disappointed base Welshman scared him off.
Thing is, I didn't do nothing. I haven't seen him for ages. So I don't know. I think he did run for me, but there we go. It's his own loss. I'm sorry for everyone else. Because he is good entertainment, if nothing else.
Well, thanks, guys. I'm gonna jump. Jump off. You can have a good one. Okay, and I am gonna remove myself from this panel, and everybody else. And okay, guys and girls, this is it. It's over. We are done for another evening. Thank you everyone for showing up. Thank you everyone for coming along. We had a good chat. It was a great conversation. I'll be honest, far better than I anticipated. Thanks for all those. I got certain friendly individuals in the text. I've not been keeping up with the text. It seems my fans are in the house. A certain hijabi hippo is also in the house. Well, guys, I'm going to try and keep this particular BanksyStyle live dignified channel if I can. So yeah, thank you everyone. Thanks for everyone who joined. Thank you for Joseph, Afghan, MC, Based Welshman, Lister, Pro. Oh my goodness, I forgot his name. Damn it, the gentleman, Probo. So yeah, thank you for everyone to come on. Thanks everyone in the chat. Sam M, Mrs. Banksy, blah blah. My fan club. And yeah, everyone else. Thank you guys for coming. Have yourselves a wonderful evening, wonderful day, and look after your families. Take care of everyone. Try to love each other, and as Jesus says, even you, hippo, I forgive you. I forgive you. I know your life is a steaming pile of shit, so I forgive you for that. Anyway, guys, it's been fun. It's been fun. It was a good night, and yeah, let's do it all again another time. In the meanwhile, let's think about a nice, gentle, mellow music to send us off. Or shall we go for the crazy? No, we're gonna go jazz. We're gonna go jazz. Let's pick a mellow jazz song. Okay, I'm randomly picking one here. I don't even know what it is. I'm just randomly picking a jazz song. Okay, let's go with this. What is this? Alright. Thank you for joining Late Night Jazz with BanksyStyle.